Well. Hello. Hello, one and all. And welcome to a Gameweek 37 deadline stream. Duncan in the chats immediately identified someone's early. To be fair, we've done a few like 3-hour pre-deadline streams recently. We've done quite a few, actually. I just think these Friday deadline, I love a Friday deadline. I really do. Usually I don't make a video on a Friday, which I think helps a lot. So, yeah, I can just stream all day pretty much. Research in the morning, stream in the afternoon. We've got a super chat here from L. Chivers, who says 2 free transfers, 1 Rice to Saka and captain, and Rodgers to Dewsbury Hall, or 2 keep Rice, Rodgers, 2 and Jai, captain Bruno Gabriel, and roll for 38. Okay, I see. Do I think it's worth it? Maybe just use the 1 transfer and captain Gabriel. Rodgers 2 and Jai looks pretty good. Either Rodgers 2 and Jai or Rodgers to Bruno G. I would say, and this is probably goes for everyone who doesn't currently have Saka in their team. If you are kind of winning your mini league right now, you are like happy with your rank and everything, maybe getting Saka in and captaining him could just be the safest play, or at least getting in Saka into your team, just for the sake of kind of consolidating and, just playing the template a little bit. Leet Crew says, hey Dan, better combo after using my 1 free transfer, playing in Giant and Joao Pedro or Thiago and DCL. 14 points behind in my mini league. I do also have double Brighton defense. So either Njai and Joao Pedro or Thiago and DCL. I mean, whichever one costs the least amount of transfers, because I don't think there's a huge amount. But you're saying that either one would be using 1 free transfer? Is that right? I don't know. The combos look about. So, I mean, my 2 favorite players out of the ones you mentioned are Njai and Thiago. So maybe I'm misunderstanding a little bit there. But whichever combo involves playing Njai and Thiago, I think I maybe prefer the Njai move, I guess. If I had to choose a combo out of those 2, I guess I'd choose Njai and Joao Pedro. Maybe that answers your question. Maybe it doesn't. Hopefully it does. What do you think about William Osler for a differential? I think with forwards this game week, there's a lot of good forwards. There's a lot of good forwards. I don't think there's really any need to go for Osler. You've got players like Haaland, of course. Gyökeres is probably second best there. And then after that, players like Welbeck, players like Thiago, players like Bowen. These guys are all good. And I think I would prefer them all to Osler, to be honest. So yeah, someone in the chat says, should I sell Welbeck and buy Osler instead? No, I don't think that really improves your team. Transfers are very valuable at this point because we've got, assuming you have 1 free transfer to use this week, you have 2 free transfers to use for the remainder of the season. I'm not sure I'd be using one on Osler, to be fair. Yeah, need a striker under 7 million. I mean, why? Why is my question there? Like, the best forwards under 7 million. Quick look, who's under 7 million? Welbeck is, Calvert-Lewin is, Beto is. And to be fair, I prefer all these guys to Osula. Long stream today? Indeed. 3 hours. Well, I say 3 hours. By the time we wait for team news, we should be well over 3 hours. But I'm also hoping that we can get some early Liverpool news today. I have asked. We'll find out. Right. What's my team looking like? Let's throw it on screen. Let us. January member for 50 months. That is a long time to be a member of the channel, but I appreciate that. So here we go. This is how we are currently set up. I don't think it's totally template, but it's like, almost there. My big decision is to whether to transfer Tavernier to pretty much Njai or Bruno G. Those are kind of my 2. I have plenty of money in the bank, so it's going to be one of those 2. Or do Lacroix to Keane. I think it's going to be Keane. So, earlier, I was very much thinking, let's go for a forward. But, sorry, a forward, an attacker. So go for a midfielder, essentially. Go for one of Njai or Bruno G. That was the initial plan. However, I've potentially switched as of today. And that's because I've just basically this morning, it's been pretty much playing Footium and doing FPL research all the way up until I started streaming, so all day. And I figured something out whilst I was researching. So this is a tweet I posted earlier. I thought I'd post this. As soon as I found this out, I thought, oh, that's actually quite interesting. So, and this is why I'm thinking of going for Keane now. So these are the centre-back DEFCON numbers against Sunderland over the past 6 game weeks. So, for example, looking at the Manchester United centre-backs versus Sunderland, so you had, it was Martinez got 6 DEFCON, Maguire got 11 DEFCON. So you can see there the players and how many DEFCONs they got against Sunderland. Going back, the Wolves centre-backs, they play with 3 centre-backs, 12, 6 and 12. The Nottingham Forest centre-backs against Sunderland got 10 and 20. I think that was Milenkovic, got 20. Incredible. Aston Villa got 6 and 4. That was Concert and Mings. But, like, to be fair, we knew that was going to be low. We always see Aston Villa. They are just useless when it comes to defensive contribution points. Spurs, Van der Ven, useless for DEFCON, got 7. Romero got 13. And Newcastle, 17 and 11. So, actually, when we look at the defenders who typically get DEFCON, so the players who didn't get DEFCON against Sunderland recently are players like Lisandro Martinez, who's not a DEFCON guy at all. It was Mings, it was Konsa, it was Van der Ven, and it was one more. I can't remember who it was. It was a Wolves centre-back, maybe Bueno. I think it was Bueno, maybe. So every centre-back who is one of your typical DEFCON centre-backs over the past 6 game weeks has got DEFCON points against Sunderland. And I would definitely put Keane and Tarkowski in that category as DEFCON centre-backs. So I would say, looking at this, it looks really, 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 really positive for Everton defensive contribution points. Really positive. We've got a couple of super chats here. Let's catch up on those. Daryl says DCL or Welbeck and Semenyo for Gyökeres and Dewsbury Hall at a -4. Probably not, to be honest, no. Unless you are just desperate for Gyökeres. I would certainly say that you do need to get a third Arsenal player in, but you can do that for one free transfer. If you don't like Semenyo, you could just do Semenyo to Trossard, particularly if you're chasing. Semenyo to Trossard looks pretty good. And by the way, for those of you guys with DCL and Welbeck and maybe Joao Pedro, if I had to put an order on those 3 forwards, I would say Welbeck is the best out of those 3, and I don't think Welbeck really needs to be sold at all. I'm going to carry him through all the way until the end of the season. I think it's absolutely fine. Unfortunate again last game week, but he'll get there. He's taking good shots. It's just good saves have kind of screwed him over. And then Joao Pedro second best, DCL third best. And I wouldn't say any of these 3 players are must sells, but if I had to sell one, it would be Calvert-Lewin. Giandre with a super chat here says 3 free transfers. Plan is to do Canvo/Rogers to Keane/Njai, but this is to bench Wilson. Nah, we don't need to bench Wilson. Just do the defender transfer. Canvo to Keane looks like a good solid transfer, and play Wilson and bench Rogers. Gives you one more week of information, and we can go into game week 38 with that additional, a bunch of additional transfers to really react to the final trends in game week 38. And on that, I know a lot of people will be like, looking for teams. Actually, let's do this other super chat, and then we'll come back to this. And this is a super chat from Yu Jun, who says, my team, Donnarumma, Gahey, Van Hecke, Gabriel, Casemiro, Bruno, Saka, Dewsbury Hall, Haaland, Watkins, Richarlison. I did a -4 for Szoboszlai to Saka. Ooh, interesting. Well, I mean, looks like you're sorted. Certainly would not be looking to make any additional -4s in your team. And, if you're buying Saka in order to captain him, then maybe it is worth a -4 if you are looking to captain him. My concern is that maybe Watkins is a little risky this week. But aside from that, things look good. I do worry a little bit about Watkins. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Watkins because on one hand, Aston Villa play the Europa League final next Wednesday. But like, they're playing tonight. They're playing on Friday. I just realised the fixtures on screen are not correct, are they? Let me update that for you guys. Yeah, since Aston Villa are playing tonight and then on Wednesday, maybe they do go full strength or at least close to, because of course the other thing with Aston Villa is they're not yet secured Champions League football. They need another win really to guarantee it. It does depend on other results as well though. But yeah, that is certainly a small point there. Hang on, guys. I'm just updating the fixtures on screen for Gameweek 37 because we currently have the Gameweek 36 fixtures going on. I don't know how I forgot to swap it earlier. Okay, right. That should update. There we go. Cool. Right, sorted. Sorted. Love it. Jandre says, thanks, Dan. It was 50 months of my life well spent. Well, I'm very glad to hear it. I'm glad the membership has been worthwhile. TK says, Villa need a result. They will go full strength. They should have gone full strength versus Spurs. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. They need to go, I would say, close to full strength, don't they, really? Even 1 point could make the difference. If you look at the Premier League table, you've got like basically a scenario in which Bournemouth or Brighton could overtake them. Now, Bournemouth would have to beat Man City in order to do that, which is tough. But Brighton face Leeds and then Manchester United, who have nothing to play for. So actually, with a better goal difference as well from Brighton, if Brighton go 2 for 2 and Aston Villa lose to both Liverpool and Man City, then things could get very interesting. Let's put it that way. Very interesting indeed. What could be even more interesting is if Aston Villa win the Europa League and then finish 6th. Could get interesting. Or finish 7th. That's possible too. Yeah. Lots of things can still happen. This is a really interesting end to the season, I can't lie. Craig here says, captain choice between Bruno, Gabriel and Haaland. Armband currently on Bruno Fernandes. Out of those three, I think Gabriel. I do feel that really an Arsenal player is the captain choice this week. Let's find Robert Teed and the latest projections. I don't know. These were from 21 hours ago. So if you look at Arsenal for game week 37, 3.2 projected goals, 56% chance of a clean sheet. That is like incredible. I'm like, these are possibly the highest single game week odds we've seen all season. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe have we seen Man City versus Bournemouth higher than that? I don't think we have. I think this genuinely might be the highest projected goals and the highest clean sheet odds in a single game week this entire season. So that really does suggest that an Arsenal player should, if we're trying to make predictions here, that's the game of FPL. It's a predictions game. In theory, Arsenal should have some big FPL points coming their way, which is why it's so important to get the triple up. Use your transfers to get that Arsenal triple up. Joe here says they're even higher now. Bookies have them at a whopping 62% clean sheet odds now. Joe, interestingly, I was checking out your little website project, your odds project earlier today. So let's have a look at that because you're tracking the odds kind of in real time, aren't you? We have got a super chat before I do that. That's from Waprino, who says accidentally bought Ghana instead of Dewsbury Hall. Oh man, were perhaps, I don't know, intoxicated at the time, very tired. I've done the same thing. I can't lie to you, my friend. I can't remember who it was. I think I accidentally bought something like, it was an Aston Villa player. It was someone instead of Watkins, I think. It was another Aston Villa striker. It might have been like, I can't even remember who was playing for Aston Villa as a striker a couple of years ago, but it was a few years ago now. Yeah, I wanted to buy Watkins, accidentally bought a different Aston Villa striker because it was like 2 a.m. and I was like, oh, prices are going to change soon. Quick, make a transfer before I fall asleep. And yeah, woke up in the morning, totally wrong. But yeah, no, on that, would I take a -4 to fix it? Probably not. If not, who to start? Garner, DCL, or Gross? Is Garner worth a punt? I mean, you're going to get set pieces from Garner. You've got decent DEFCON chance. I think I would play Garner over DCL and Gross. My only concern with playing Garner and benching DCL and Gross is that DCL and Gross have been absolute point scammers recently. DCL getting penalties, Gross getting very fortunate assists, let's call it that. Not saying the points aren't justified, but I'm saying that they are spawning points a little bit at the moment, and therefore it could happen again. And even though it might seem sensible to start Garner over DCL and Gross have a way of turning sensible decisions into seemingly bad decisions, I guess. But yeah, I think I would start Garner. But be aware, and I think certainly Gross and DCL are perfectly playable. So let's check out Joe's website. So this is all of the projected goals, clean sheet, and scoreline odds from the SBO bet totals and handicap markets. And we've also got trends. Were they trending up? Are they trending down? Now, the fact that Liverpool are trending down, I think, does suggest that Wirtz is going to be out again this week. We know he's got like a stomach bug recently or something like that. And yeah, and that is possibly, there's maybe been some inside information. I haven't got it yet. I hope to get it. I hope to get it soon. But I think we could see some German attacking midfielders on the bench, or maybe not starting. We said we were going to have a look at Arsenal. So wow, look at this, man. You click see history. What happens if you click this? It loads. All right. So, got the win draw. The clean sheet odds have dropped slightly, haven't they? Since earlier today, or certainly since this morning. Arsenal's 62% chance of a clean sheet currently, and an increase up to 3.22 estimated goals. Most likely scoreline looks to be 3-0. All of the most likely score lines end in a 0 to Burnley. Look at these. 3-0, 2-0, 4-0, 1-0, 5-0 at 7% chance. That really, really does suggest get on Arsenal, triple up, and captain, essentially giving yourself a quad. If you have a triple captain as well, it may well be the time to throw it on an Arsenal player if you haven't used your triple captain yet. The odds look good. The odds look really good. Any info on Saliba? I don't think there's anything to say on Saliba, isn't there? He's available. Did he miss? He was doing individual training earlier this week, wasn't he? That's about all I know. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, there's no injury or issue there, unless there's something that has been very well hidden. To be fair, if Saliba was unavailable, it would be an incredible shock, and also it would be information that is impossible to find out as an FPL manager, because there is no way that Arsenal are revealing anything. If Arsenal have picked up an injury that the public don't know about, there is no way they're letting that cat out the bag. We will not find out about it until the lineups are released on Monday. We will not find out. So, yeah, there's no point in overthinking that. As far as we're aware, all Arsenal players are available, with the exception of Timber, who we know is out, and Ben White, who we know is out, and who else is it? There's someone else. Who else is out? Oh, Calafiori is like, we're not sure. No problem, Joe. No problem at all. It's interesting stuff, man. Joe, you really have, but with your YouTube stuff and this stuff, you really are putting yourself in the shop window. Do you want a job at FPL Mate Industries? Because it is good stuff. It is good stuff. But regardless, Gyökeres for Mateta. Yeah, I would certainly do Gyökeres for Mateta. If you can do that in one transfer move, I would do it. I think, yeah, it pretty much any forward bar Haaland, if you can use one transfer to get to Gyökeres and that's your Arsenal triple up completed, then I would do it. But I do think Saka is the slightly higher priority, just because honestly, I'm looking through midfielders and nobody like fully convinces me. I'm going to switch this, by the way. Do need to switch this because I think it's. I really don't know who to play, Tavernier or Scott. By the way, maybe we'll throw Scott here. I keep changing my mind between the two. Yeah, I think I am going to do Lacroix to Keane at this point, unless something wacky happens in the next 2.5 hours, which I doubt it. Do you favour getting in Trossard or triple Arsenal defence? I think, honestly, I think I would want to get an Arsenal attacker. Like, a lot of people are on double Arsenal defence, and that's great, and it's secure, and it's safe. But I really do think in a game against Burnley, the upside is firmly in favour of the attackers. The problem is, Gabriel, great. Gabriel can get 8 points with DEFCON, maybe more with bonus. But if Arsenal are going to score 3 goals, assuming no defenders are involved in those 3 goals, it's going to be a struggle for the defenders to get to get bonus points. So players like Saliba, players like Lewis Skelly, if you're going that way, Mascara, Raya, these players are going to struggle to get DEFCON points because they rarely do anyway. And they're going to struggle to get bonus points as well. So in a game against Burnley, a cat just arrived, by the way. Can you see him? Oh, no, he's hidden behind this overlay. Can I? Oh, there you go. You can just about see him now. Hello. This is Milton, for anyone who has not met him before. He's an absolute legend. And he's now hidden behind there. You know what? Now, let's keep him on screen for a minute. Let's give him some airtime. But yeah, going back to Arsenal, where is the ceiling with these Arsenal guys? If we look at Saliba, Lewis Skelly, Mascara, Raya, these guys are not completely, but like pretty much 6 points ceiling. Yes, technically they could get more than 6 points. Yes, it's definitely possible. But how likely is it? Not very. Anything above 6 points is unlikely. And there's also, and I do think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet, but there's also, if you're looking at a 6 point as a 6 point likely ceiling, and then you're thinking, all right, between 50 and 55% chance of an Arsenal clean sheet. Burnley, with nothing to lose, playing with freedom, playing pretty attacking football. Let's go back in now. Playing pretty attacking football, that 45 to 50% chance of Burnley scoring, and suddenly that 6-pointer is a 2-pointer from these kind of low impact defenders with not many routes to points. So if you're already on Arsenal defence, double or triple, fair enough. But if you have the option to go more into attack, then I think I would. I think I would. Crispy Feminist says, I'm almost certain Burnley will score at least one. Well, I don't know why. I definitely wouldn't be certain about that. But I think it is important we acknowledge the possibility. I think a lot of people are assuming Arsenal will keep a clean sheet. And it's a fairly decent assumption to make. Compared to most weeks, this is a pretty good week to assume a clean sheet. But it's not guaranteed. And if you lose that, then you've lost everything with a Saliba. You've lost everything with a Raya. You've lost everything with a Lewis Skelly. You've lost everything with a Mascara. You've lost most things with Gabriel. Was that harsh? Gabriel at DEFCON and, corner threat. Aerial threat. But you lose a chunk with Gabriel at least. So, yeah, I just would prefer to go for Arsenal attack. And I think most people, if they were honest with themselves and, if they were on a free hit or a wild card right now, they would be going for double Arsenal attack. Whether that's Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard, probably not Declan Rice, to be honest. But yeah, they probably would go. Probably this combo, like the combo that I'm running right now, is the one I like the most. Gabriel, Saka, Gyökeres. If I was on a free hit, those would be my 3 Arsenal picks. Well, they're saying that if I was on a free hit, I might even take a punt on Trossard and go Gyökeres, Saka, Trossard. That's where the upside is, maybe. Saying that. Gabriel always has upside. If he gets a goal somehow, he always finds a way, doesn't he? He does find a way to get his attacking return. Oh, there we go. If I save it like that, that looks much nicer. Now we just need to swap Lacroix. It's a shame I can't play a 3-3-3 formation. Then it would be really nice and symmetrical. But then I'd probably get less FPL points. So the trade-off, is it worth it? Don't know. Yeah, Lacroix to Keane. I just can't get around that. I can't get around it. I can see it being a 1-1 or 2-2, to be honest. And what football team do you support, Crispy Feminist? Because I imagine you are speaking with hope. Why are you knocking yellow cards? Hey, my cat has just knocked a yellow card onto the floor. So I think, what are you trying to tell me, Milton? You want to give Crispy a yellow card for saying that Arsenal and Burnley are going to draw this week? There you go. It's a yellow card to Crispy for nonsense predictions based on emotions and desires rather than real life. What's the update on O'Reilly? There's no update, unfortunately. And frustratingly, City don't even play until Tuesday. So, Senesi final home game against City. I mean, it's a game against City. Defenders against City just generally are pretty much a no-no. Best goal-scoring team in the league. And Bournemouth, they have got their fair share of clean sheets. And particularly at home, I quite like them for clean sheets. But they also do get pretty lucky with their clean sheets quite often. And I have been on the receiving end of some Hill good fortune, at least until everyone else bought him and then they started scoring own goals. So one of you, I don't know which one of you it was, but one of you has cursed James Hill. I was having a lovely time with him before one of you guys bought him and cursed him. Josh is here. He's awake and I've made my try. What did you go for in the end, Josh? Is Eze a risk? Can get Saka with a hit? I do think Eze is a risk. And the reason why is because I thought Ødegaard played very well in the limited time he was on the pitch against West Ham last week. He really did look good. And I like Ødegaard and Saka together, like as a combo. I really do. So Eze, is he going to play off the left and on left wing? Probably not. Trossard will probably play left wing. Is Eze going to maybe play left centre mid? Maybe. And this is where I have some concerns over Lewis Skelly as a pick and why I probably personally wouldn't go there. Because there is definitely a world in which we see Declan Rice as kind of the holding midfielder Zubimendi kind of off it at the moment. And then we see Eza left centre mid, if you like, or left attacking mid, and Erdegaard right centre mid, right attacking mid type deal. So, you know, if Arsenal are saying this is, you know, the game against Burnley at home, we're going to try and pump up the goal difference. Could it be that they play with, you know, those two attacking midfielders in an almost, you know, a classic City? You know, if we think of the way City used to set up a few years ago, when, you know, they had De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as kind of two attacking midfielders with a kind of deeper lying midfielder behind them. It's certainly in some of the easier, if you like, fixtures, and they would pump up the goals that way with that extra creativity in midfield. So I think that's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that does throw players like Lewis Skelly and Eza into doubt, because I think Erdegaard has justified his place in the starting 11. So we'll see. Why Joao Pedro over DCL? Joao Pedro will be rotated. Do you know that? How sure are you about that? Chelsea have a lot to play for still. You know, Chelsea are not out of the race for Europe yet. And don't get me wrong, it's close. But if Aston Villa finish 5th, like Chelsea have an outside. If Aston Villa finish 5th and win the Europa League, Chelsea have an outside chance of getting into 6th place and getting Champions League football, or if not, Europa League football. But on the other hand, if Chelsea were to beat Man City tomorrow, then that would give them automatic qualification to the Europa League, and I think they probably would maybe start to rest some players in the final 2 game weeks. That would be a bit of a disaster for Palmer and Joao Pedro owners if Chelsea were to win the FA Cup. Particularly if, you know, maybe Brighton were to also win. And that would really mean that, you know, Chelsea's chance of Champions League football is just done by that point, and they already have Europa League football secured. So that's definitely a possibility. Highly unlikely, though. I mean, it's Chelsea. I guess so. Is FPL Joe still in the chat? You know your odds. I don't suppose you've got any odds on Chelsea winning the FA Cup tomorrow, or does anyone have any odds on Chelsea winning the FA Cup tomorrow? I'll be interested to see. Is Saka captain locked in? I think so, but that's only really because I don't want to mess around with it. He's locked in not because I'm very clear that he's the best captain. Definitely not. I like Gabriel and Gyökeres almost just as much as Saka. Like, I kind of almost like all 3 of them equally. But I'm going to go for Saka. I think Saka is a slightly more high risk, high reward captain of the 3. Because he's got a lower floor than Gabriel, but I think he's got a higher ceiling than Gyökeres. Because Saka, he can get a clean sheet point, he gets extra points for goals, he has that outside chance of defensive contribution points, which he hasn't really shown since his return from injury. So 3 there, 4 there, 1 there. But, like, you know, against Wolves, he got 18. Spurs, he got 14. Sunderland, he got 12. Fulham here, we got 12. So he has actually got defensive contribution points a couple of times this season. It's unlikely that it's going to happen. But look, it's possible. Joe coming in clutch here. 29% chance to win the FA Cup, according to Pinnacle. There you go. So, you know, it's a non-zero. It's non-zero. You wouldn't put your mortgage on it, but, you know, it could happen. Do we know if Gyökeres or Saka takes the penalty? It's an interesting question. As an Arsenal fan, my suspicion is probably Gyökeres. Only because I've watched a few Gyökeres penalties recently, and my word, he smashes it beyond belief. Accuracy, power. Goalkeeper's not standing a chance. And whilst I do think Saka is a good penalty taker, I don't know if Saka is like an elite penalty taker. I'd be interested to see Gyökeres's penalty taking history. Is he historically a great penalty taker? Because since arriving at Arsenal, and you know, even last season when I was watching him like in the Champions League again for Sporting, like penalties pretty consistently decent. Okay, so he's scored every penalty he's taken since this 22nd of February 2024, so over 2 years. So during that time, he's scored how many penalties in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He scored 15 penalties in a row. Looks like most of his penalty misses were like back in the Championship in the Premier League too, and one in the Europa League way back when. So really, since Gyökeres scored his first penalty, he has scored every single one since. He missed 4 in a row, and then he scored 15 in a row in that order. Crazy stuff. It does kind of suggest that maybe he just is an elite penalty taker. Let's look at Saka's record, because I think it's a little bit more mixed. Yeah. So, okay. I mean, it's not that bad really. He's just taken fewer during the same period of time. He's taken fewer, maybe partially due to injuries, and he has missed 1 in the Champions League, and that was last season against. Oh yeah, it was against Real Madrid. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. That was scary times, but we kind of already won the game by that point, so it didn't really matter. If I remember correctly, it was already kind of done. So otherwise, that would have been awful, wouldn't it? Really awful. Bro's getting hyped for Saka pens. I'm not getting hyped for Saka pens. I actually think Gyökeres is going to take the next pen. I'm getting hyped for Gyökeres pens. Giandro says, I think you're right, but won't be surprised if Saka takes the next for confidence. Maybe he's been out for a while. But like, here's the thing. The difficulty is right now, I don't think Arsenal can, unless Arsenal are several goals up, and even then I'm still not sure because goal difference is important. I don't think Arsenal can afford to be sentimental right now. So the best penalty taker, who I think is probably Gyökeres from what I've seen, probably is the guy to take the penalty. Tips for wildcard players with bench boost next week. Triple Arsenal. You could go 1 City. You could go 1 City, genuinely. Am I drinking Metamucil? Oh, what is that? It's just orange squash, my friend. Is it close for captaincy between Gyökeres and Saka? I think it is. I think you know, both players have a similar potential. I just think that Saka has a higher ceiling just because of midfielders always will have a higher ceiling. Gyökeres scores a hat-trick, Saka scores a hat-trick, Saka scores 3 more points for doing the same things on the pitch. But yeah, a big part of me says, you know, take a risk, go for Gabriel, go for Gyökeres. Don't know though. I don't know. Early game week 38 captaincy Salah for all time's sake. Hey, if you want to play FPL in a sentimental way, fine. But I am going to be far more ruthless. I'm not going to be romantic. I'm going to be ruthless when it comes to game week 38. Do a marble race for the armband. We could do a duck race. We don't really do marble races here. We do duck races. Should we do a duck race? Okay. So what ducks do we need? We need a few ducks. Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, Bruno, Haaland. Who else for captaincy? Won't City also go for max goals? The priority for City already have a good goal difference. They already have a really strong goal difference. So their priority is just going to be winning their games and hoping that Arsenal slip up and draw one of theirs. Anyone else I'm missing from the captaincy decisions? Bruno G, nah, I don't think he's a realistic captain option. Are there any other Arsenal? I mean, Trossard, are we going to put Trossard in there? Probably not, right? Or do we? Maybe we just put Trossard in there for the differential. Thiago, now I don't think anyone's captaining Thiago ahead of these guys. Right, a few people have suggested Trossard, so we're going to throw him in. If you're new to duck races, I mean, first of all, congratulations. You're about to witness the greatest thing you've ever witnessed in your life. I'm going to put a 5-minute duck race, and we'll come back to it later. A few people saying Thiago. Really? Is Thiago a genuine captain option this week? You know what? Screw it. We'll add him in. Wilson's not going in there, though. Shall we run it? Someone said give Gyökeres a cool outfit. I'll keep refreshing until Gyökeres looks interesting. Oh, he's green. He's bright green. Haaland's got the king. Bruno Fernandes is red. Thiago's purple. Saka has got a medical mask on. That kind of tracks. Trossard is pink. Gyökeres is green. And Gabriel is just plain yellow. Cool. Right. Well, they're off. 5-minute race. Here for FPL says, damn mate, Tav to enjoy or Lequata Keen. I'm probably at this point doing Lequata Keen. I think. I cannot be sure, but I think that's what I'm going to do. We've got updated odds, projections from Rob T right now. Right. With 30 seconds gone in the duck race, currently Bruno Fernandes is winning as your Game Week 37 captain duck. However, it's a long race ahead. It's a very long race ahead. So we'll see how this goes. This is fantastic content, by the way. This is absolutely amazing content. Other content creators are doing spinny wheels to make decisions. We've got ducks, rubber ducks racing down a river. This is pure quality. Burst of pace from Bukayo Quacker. But he is slowing down though now. He is slowing down. Anyone got any other duck-related puns for our ducks racing today? Please do let me know. Money on Bruno. Look, we're not placing bets. This is not. We're not doing the horse racing. This isn't a trip down the bookmakers to see the GGs. Victor Quaquarez. Yeah, I like it. Quassard. I don't know. That's not quite as good. Quaquarez I like though. Should I get Saliba and bench Calvert-Lewin or Trossard for Gross? I prefer Trossard for Gross, I think. Unless you're kind of winning your mini leagues and you just want to protect your rank. Defenders to protect rank, attackers to try and boost your rank. But anyway, guys, we are 2 minutes into this race and it's now Quaquarez in front. But Bukayo Quacker has got another burst of pace coming in. And Bruno Fernandes, duck, is gone from first to worst. Quacriel is currently winning, I think. What other duck related? What do ducks have? Webbed feet. Is there a webbed feet? Wing pun? I don't know. Bruno Fernandes duck is a great name. I agree. Bruno Swanandes, I like. Erling Mallard or Marlard? Erling Marlard, I don't mind. I don't mind it. Federecci Eze. Federecci Eze is good. It's a shame he's not in this race because that is good. Bruno Fernandes. Who do we think is going to win here, guys? Who are you cheering for? This is close. Erling Mallardlund is at the back now. Now Quacker is at the back. Quacker, not doing great. Quackriel. Gabriel. Gooserez. Jesus, make this race 2 minutes next time. No, it's fun. It's interesting. You can just have this on in the background whilst we're talking about other stuff. Although saying that, we've been so distracted by football player duck name puns that that we've kind of forgotten to talk about FPL. But look, this is FPL. This counts as FPL content. We've got 30 seconds to go now, guys. We are on the home straight. Trossard, don't you dare. You and Thiago barely even deserve to be entered into this race. Is anyone, by the way, going to commit to actually basing their captain decision on this duck race? Is anyone going to actually commit to this? Oh, my word. Who's it going to be? Bruno Fernandes. Haaland's just absolutely racing ahead out of nowhere. No way. Well, how on earth is he snuck through then? What? Haaland came out of nowhere to win that one. Hey, listen. If you like it, go for it. I am going to do another slightly shorter one, and I'm just going to put in the captains I actually feel are very good. So these 4 are the players I actually like as captain the most. I wouldn't personally be considering anyone other than these 4. I'd be happy I would think I would be reasonably happy if not someone forced me to captain any of these 4. I would be happy. So there you go. The last one was a fun one. This is the serious one, and I think any of these are good captains. Genuinely. Was the other race, I'm not actually so keen on Haaland, Thiago, Trossard, but I'm keen on all of these. So this is just for those who want to take things a bit more seriously. But anyway, any other non-duck related FPL questions, feel free to answer. How would webbed feet on VAR if it goes to a photo finish? Look, you saw Haaland win fair and square. Someone clip the finish and send it to the winner's Twitter. Could be good. Dark nose ball. Look at this. Saka has really fallen off by a mile. I mean, now he's coming back. The strawberry duck. Bakayo Quacker. Quackriel is coming in. I think it's a Quackriel win. There you go. Just for those who want to take things a bit more seriously, talking about using a duck race to make choices. It's as good of a science as anything else, right? There we go, right. So there we go. A slightly more serious captain debate there, settled by cartoon ducks. Brilliant. Right. Let's put our sensible heads back on. No more duck races for now. Rice to Saka for a hit. I would say only if you're going to captain Saka. I will try not to do that. Is Trossard definitely going to start? I wouldn't say definitely, no, but I'd be like 85 to 90% confident, which is pretty much as good as you're going to get. Van Hecker to Keane and JP to Gyökeres for 2 free transfers. Do you need to do the Van Hecker to Keane move, or is that funding, or is that just a separate transfer? I don't think Van Hecker to Keane is necessary as a transfer. Polia says, I just joined to watching a duck race. This is so unserious. This is serious. How can you say that this is not serious? How do you make your FPL decisions? Stats? Watching football? Algorithms? All very valid. But sometimes a duck race, can help in decision making. For some people, they don't like stats. They don't like the eye test. They don't like the analytics. We make content for everyone here, including those who make decisions via ducks racing. Everyone, one of the hardest captaincy decisions of the season. Dan, duck race. All right, do you want me to give my serious thoughts then? My serious thoughts are captain an Arsenal player, one of Gabriel, Saka and Gyökeres. If you only have one of those three, captain that guy. Gabriel is probably the riskiest, followed by Saka. Gyökeres is probably genuinely the safest of the three, but I do feel that Saka and Gabriel's ceiling is a little higher than Gyökeres. If you have the choice, I would captain Saka this week because I think he has lots of routes to points, and you're taking a bit of a risk on his minutes and early subs, but the risk could be worthwhile. And I think even if he does get that dreaded 59th minute sub, it's probably because Arsenal are already a few goals up, and it's likely that Saka has been involved in that. Gyökeres, I don't think his minutes are particularly better than Saka's, to be honest. And actually, of the three, Gabriel's minutes are the best. But whilst Gabriel has a good floor, you are going to need a goal from him, I think, to match the likes of Gyökeres and Saka. And he's not really been doing the goals recently. He's got a couple of lucky assists, which is great. But, can we rely upon that? So I like these three guys, probably in order. Saka is my favourite captain this week. Second favourite is probably Gyökeres. And Gabriel's probably my third favourite captain for this week. So there you go. There's some serious captain chat. Andy here says, hi, Dan, what do you think about Watkins to Thiago? Do you think that Watkins may be rested tonight ahead of Europe? I feel like Watkins probably is more likely to start tonight than not. But over the course of 2 game weeks, Watkins is troubling. And it may well be worth just going to someone a little bit safer. And Thiago is certainly that. Thiago is certainly a really safe bet. And I like him as well. If you have the option to go Watkins to Gyökeres, I would do it. But if you're already tripled up on Arsenal, then Thiago's a pretty good bet as well. I don't mind Bowen as well. Hi, Dan. Should I take a hit to remove Tavernier to Szoboszlai? No, I don't think that's worth a hit. Do I start Welbeck or Wilson? Probably both. If you can start both, I would. I would imagine you probably have another player in your squad that is worth benching for both Welbeck and Wilson. But if I had to play one, I guess it would be Wilson. Jake says, hi, Dan. I'm top of my mini league by 6 points, but second place has Saka. So should I do Munoz to Saliba, as I have the money for that, or Munoz and Rice to Keane and Saka for a hit? If you take a hit, you're only winning your mini league by 2 points all of a sudden. Are you confident enough that the remainder of your team can stay the course well enough to stay ahead by 2 points? Maybe I would just do Munoz to Saliba. I don't know. That's a really tough question. It's too close to really Really be sure that I think no matter what you do, Jake, the league could, your mini league could go either way. It is just so close. But 4 points could make the difference, so maybe I wouldn't take a hit. Is there a fantasy for World Cup? Not one that's been released, but we're pretty sure there is going to be one. And as soon as it's out, the World Cup fantasy content will start pumping out on the FPL Mate YouTube channel, or World Cup Fantasy Mate, should we call it? Hey Dan, what's your thoughts on Cherki to Doku? I don't like it, to be honest. I think generally speaking, removing Man City players at this point is probably fine, but bringing new Man City players in probably wouldn't do it. So yeah, there's just rotation risk. Rotation risk. World Cup squads aren't even out yet. No, however, the last few times that international tournament fantasy games have been released, they have done it before squads have been finalized. They just predict the squads and then add and remove players from their from the database, from the players to select from, as and when players are kind of added or removed from the squads. 4 free transfers, no Arsenal, best 3. The 3 are the 3 I have, I think. Gabriel, Saka, Gyökeres. What are your thoughts on Gabriel, captain? I like it. There's definitely some upside there, and you've got a decent floor as well, or it's an okay floor. I think there is still the chance that Gabriel doesn't get DEFCON this week. I don't think it's like nailed on. Is there any O'Reilly news? No, I think as far as we know, O'Reilly was just a rest. We haven't really got any more information than that, unfortunately. Thanks for the reply to my comment on your video earlier. I've done DCL to Gyökeres for a -4. Nice, good luck. If Arsenal secured the game on the second half, would Arteta sub Saka? It's possible, yeah. But if Arsenal are 3-0 up or 4-0 up at half time, what has Saka done by that point? Probably a fair bit, no? O'Reilly apparently seen in training. Okay, well, that's good news. What are your thoughts on Osler? Probably like the 8th best forward you can buy right now. So, he's fine. I see no trust on Leeds. Yeah, well, I mean, like, to be fair, Diogo, Leeds are missing a lot of players. You might have seen it in the ticker down at the bottom of the screen. But let me give you a list of players currently missing from Leeds. So, Goodmanson is out, Gruev is out, Bogle's out, Okafor is out, Strauch hasn't trained, so he's majorly doubtful. And then Ampadu has picked up an illness, and he's unlikely to play now as well. So with Leeds with nothing to play for anymore, not going to get any European football, they're safe from relegation. They've got Goodmanson, Gruev, Bogle, and Okafor out. Strauch is not fully fit. Why would they risk him? Particularly after last game week where he really was struggling. Strauch could do with a game off, I think. And Ampadu, if he's like ill and not feeling up to it, well, again, why would they play him if there's nothing to play for there? So Leeds should, in theory, be fairly weak this week. And actually, even last game week, they played Spurs, and I watched that game. And even though they did have a couple of chances that were kind of close to being goals, I guess, they weren't really high quality chances. It was kind of a header from a set piece, which, every team gets a couple of those every game. So, nothing too noteworthy there. And there was that shot that was from that really tight angle that hit, was it the crossbar? I think it was a crossbar, not the post. Did Vicario get a touch on it? I think. And yeah, I didn't see outside of the penalty. There wasn't really like high quality chances for Leeds in that game. And Brighton are a much better defence than Spurs. So I do have probably more faith in Brighton's defence than perhaps a lot of other people. I don't know. It just makes sense. Leeds missing players, struggling to get high quality chances. Brighton, a team that don't really concede high quality chances regardless, been one of the best defensive. I mean, let's look at the numbers. We're on Optastats tool on Hub. We go defensive numbers, do a 10 game week sample size. And we see Arsenal played one less game. So actually, let's do a per appearance. We can't do non-penalty, but we can do this. So top defenses: Arsenal 0.97 xGC per game, Leeds second 1.04, Man City third 1.05, then Brighton are right here 1.11. In terms of clean sheets, only Arsenal are keeping more. So Arsenal have kept 5 in 9 clean sheets. Brighton have kept a clean sheet in half of their last 10 games. Really, really good stuff. In terms of big chances conceded, Brighton just do not concede big chances at all. 1.6 per game, next to nothing. Shots in the box, really low again. 7.7 per game. Shots total, 10.6. So you can look through various different stats here. Expected clean sheets, they're top 0.38 expected clean sheets per start. Brighton are a really strong defence. They are. So I have the faith. I have no problem with playing for Bruggen this week. I've got no problem with Van Hecke and playing Van Hecke. I know some people are thinking about selling or benching Van Hecke. I think he's fine to start. He's fine to go for. JP to Gyökeres or Tavernier to Trossard. If you have the option to do JP to Gyökeres, I would do it. What are your thoughts on Beto? Oh, he's fine. If you need to go for a really cheap forward, he's fine. Van Hecke to Tarkowski. I have a Bruggen and DCL or Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall / Njai and start double Brighton defence. I don't even think you need to make a transfer. I would roll the transfer in your case, MUFCHJ. Roll the transfer, play DCL, and play a double Brighton defence. Jake says, I'm worried about leaving bench boost till 38 for rotation. My bench is Dubravka, Hill, Virgil, Elliot Anderson. Do I just bench boost this week or gamble and leave it for 38? I mean, I would try and do it this week if possible. The problem is your bench is better for next week. And also, you're going to need a transfer to remove Dubravka, who's not playing anymore. So in that sense, maybe you should just wait for next week. I'm starting to lead towards Gabriel just because Arsenal only need to win. They might go 1-0 up and play it safe. Might only be a 2-0 score. Maybe. I don't know. Are Arsenal really going to go 1-0 up against Burnley and just sit back for the whole game? That is such a risky... It's arguably not safe to do that. And if they do that, then all they're going to do is open up Burnley and play on the counter-attack against them and probably keep scoring. It's just a case of how long it takes Arsenal to open up the score. If it stays 0-0 for a while, then Gabriel is just a better pick. Don't know. Currently leading my mini league by 15 points. I have 3 transfers. Should I do Strauch to Keane and Tavernier to Dewsbury and bench Gross? I don't think you need to do... I don't need to... You think you need to make transfers to bench Gross. Gross is fine to play. You can make... You do have 3 transfers, though. So maybe you could make 2. Fair point. Strauch to Keane, I like. And if you like Dewsbury Hall, Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall works. The thing is, though, with Arsenal, is like, if they decide to sit back against Burnley, not only are they risking conceding, if they go up early and just sit back for 80 minutes or something like that, that is such a risky game. And I don't think it benefits Arsenal at all to do that. But also, it's a risk in the sense that if you then go and draw, if Arsenal then go and draw to Crystal Palace, then City win because City's goal difference is just superior. Man City goal difference currently 43, Arsenal's 42. If Man City win 2, that means their goal difference is guaranteed to go up at least 2. If Arsenal only win 1, then their goal difference is only guaranteed to go up 1. So that would put Man City with 2 better goal difference than Arsenal. Arsenal have a huge opportunity to really, really take this into their hands. A big goal difference against Burnley really helps take the pressure off of the Crystal Palace game. You keep saying superior, there's 1 goal. Well, yeah, but we're talking about a situation where Arsenal draw one of their games, which means Man City, if they win both of their games, that's an additional 1 immediately. And we're also talking about a scenario in which Arsenal don't go for it against Burnley and then don't get many goals in that game either. So that difference of 1 goal in this scenario instantly increases by several. And then it really would be superior for Man City. Scorpio says DCL to Gyökeres, Tavernier to Mainu, Strauch to Bujol. Those are some strange transfers. I guess it's just funding, isn't it? I don't know. 3 transfers, 2 of which make your team worse, just to get Gyökeres doesn't seem worth it to me. Maybe it's just worth finding a different way to Arsenal. Like, can you just do Tavernier to Trossard, for example, and then that's just 1 transfer spent? Particularly if that's for a hit, Scorpio, I definitely wouldn't do that for a hit. 3 free transfers just to get Gyökeres in, to me, doesn't seem worth it if you have easy access to Trossard. Never here says, need your help again, Dan. My rival is using his free hit and wild card these next 2 weeks. Crikey. The plan is to go template and keep the lead. The plan to go template and keep the lead is gone. I'm panicking. Well, I mean, like, realistically, if this person has got a free hit and a wild card, they're just going to go template for the last 2 game weeks of the season, right? They're going to go like free hit and wild card. If that's your 2 chips left for the final 2 game weeks of the season, that is probably the weakest use of a wild card and a free hit I can possibly think of. All of the benefits that you get from a free hit and a wild card almost vanish when using them in the final 2 game weeks of the season. If you're using both, at least. So what are they going to do, realistically? Well, they're going to get triple Arsenal this week. You should already have that. They're going to get maybe an Everton player. Maybe, I don't know who else. The rest is... And this is the other thing with the final 2 game weeks of the season. There really isn't anything super obvious here. Like, what are you targeting? This week, you're targeting Arsenal against Burnley. You're maybe targeting Everton against Sunderland. That's pretty much it. Bruno Fernandes, but everyone, has him anyway. Haaland, but everyone has him anyway. Where else are you really going? You're just taking punts. And it's the same in Game Week 38, but even worse. Like, yes, it could be interesting to see the lay of the land and try and do something tactical. But my guess would be is if your mini league rival has waited until Game Week 37 and 38 to use their free hit and wildcard chips, my faith in them being able to effectively target fixtures and kind of agendas and storylines and these things in Game Week 38 effectively, my faith in them to be able to do that is fairly low if they're only using their chips now. So he's been very lucky this season. Well, prepare for the luck to run out. Stay the course. Stay the course. You can do it. Safe and sensible. You'll be fine. Mingyu says, hi Dan, any good triple captain options? What do you think of Gabriel? Don't have Saka / Gyökeres, only Rare and Eze. Should I do this game week or next? I'm chasing. hey, if you only have out of Saka, Gyökeres, and Gabriel, you only have Gabriel, then he's your triple captain. Go for it this week as well. This Arsenal players this week is the final big opportunity, I think, for points. Next week, there will be points on offer, but it will be a lot more guesswork, where I think we can make fairly accurate predictions this week, at least when it comes to Arsenal versus Burnley. Scorpio here says, got Trossard, Strout to Keane, leaves me with 0.9. I would want to get triple Arsenal, though. Strout to Keane. Is there no other way to get a third Arsenal player? Have you got Gabriel? Have you got Saka? I mean, you must be missing one of them, right? Is there a way to get Saka? Like, let me see. Let me remind myself what moves you were going to make. So if you were to do Tavernier to Saka, what else would you have to do? Could you do like DCL to Beto? Would that work? Something like that? Could you do it in 2 moves is what I'm trying to say. Can you get either Saka, Gabriel, or Gyökeres, depending on who you're missing? Can you do it in 2 moves? If so, do that, I would say. Jonathan says Trossard for Tavernier or Gyökeres for DCL. If you have the option to do Gyökeres in for DCL, I would do it. If you have the money ready to go in the bank, why not? Ian here says, better week for a bench boost. I have Morgan Gibbs, White, Rodgers, and Creepy to sell, but next week may be unpredictable. I mean, I think Rodgers will play this week. Gibbs, White, I'm not sure. Creepy, I'm not sure. But I don't think any of their minutes potential improves next week. And if you only got 1 free transfer to use next week, and there's going to be even more unpredictability, then maybe it's just this week. I don't know. It's so difficult. If you've not planned out a bench boost properly, you kind of just got to hit the button and hope for the best. There's not really such thing as good bench boost advice if you have 2 game weeks left to play it. I think this week is more predictable to play it. Next week, you get an extra transfer to try and fix issues. Both are, have their downfalls, I guess. So you just got to run it and see what happens. Preferably this week, I think. But yeah, could be staring down the barrel at like a 5 or 6 point bench boost. But I think that's not going to change next week. Constant is it Mascara or Joao Pedro to Gyökeres? Let's say Joao Pedro to Gyökeres. As long as you can bench Consa. Who do I captain? So confused. Join me in captaining Bukayo Saka. When in doubt, I think if you're in doubt, just captain Saka. And I'm in doubt. There's lots of good captain options this week. I'm just going to go for Saka. Keep it simple. But equally, I like Gabriel Gyökeres. I don't mind Bruno. One issue with Mascara, I know some people have been speaking about Mascara today, is that Timber hasn't been ruled out for the remainder of the season. There is still a real possibility that Timber comes back and plays some minutes. Now, I don't know if he's necessarily will start, but I could see Timber maybe. Timber's not going to start this week, but is there a world in which Timber plays 45 minutes in game week 38? Or, over 30 minutes, giving Mascara a 59-minute sub? Is that possible? Would Arteta look to, try a different right back? Like a midfielder at right back, try and come up with a creative solution? I guess it's possible. Lots of questions about Osler at the moment. I feel like maybe other people are more hyped on Osler than I am. Am I missing something? He has scored points recently, I guess, but he hit the woodwork last week, didn't he? He took that free kick. It's kind of on-off. Like, these minutes I don't love. These early subs I don't love at all. Mark here says, who should I bring in? Bruno G in for Cherki or Gomez? Your safer bet is probably to bring Bruno G in for Cherki. Or is it? Is that true? Yeah, it kind of is. Because Mitoma is out for the season now. Gomez is available. So Gomez probably plays the last 2 games of the season. And Cherki is, of course, minutes risk. He is going to be minutes risk. So if you just want to secure your minutes, bring in Bruno G for Cherki. However, I do think Cherki still has something to offer this season, and he does have a good upside. So I do think that Cherki is certainly not a must sell. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't make either of those transfers if it was my team. I don't think I would. These numbers are pretty decent for Osler, aren't they? Let's go here. Players, forwards. Non-penalty XG. Per start. Yeah, I mean, Osler is pretty decent here. 10 game week range. Let's tighten it up a little bit. And it's not horrible. The minutes would worry me a little bit though. And I just don't love that West Ham game. Or the Fulham. I don't love the fixtures for Newcastle. They just worry me a little bit. West Ham playing well. Fulham away is typically a tough fixture this season. And even though I like someone like Bruno G, I like him because he has routes to points, corners, some free kicks, penalties, and DEFCON as well. So if I'm going for a Newcastle player, it's probably Bruno G just for routes to points. But Osler's routes to points is basically goals, that's it. So if it goes wrong, it goes very wrong. Dan, how do you feel about Senesi, Mitoma, DCL to Keane, Trossard, Richarlison? Is the DCL to Richarlison move necessary? Solanke is probably going to be available, by the way. So there's the risk there. Senesi isn't great for this week, but Senesi's kind of useful next week against Forest. I like the Mitoma to Trossard move, though. MLS or Mascara? I guess if I had to pick, it would be Mascara, but I do have... I'm not really that keen on either of them. Hi, Dan. Thanks for the incredible season, mate. I missed my triple captain last week and have Saka, Gabriel, Haaland, and Bruno Fernandes. It is time, SimSim69, for you to triple captain Bukayo Saka. Enjoy. Enjoy. Best forward under 7.4 next week. Next week or this week? For 2 game weeks, I think I would go for Thiago. For a 2 game week punt. He's 7.3 million. Who else is good? Forwards. Bowen's a little bit more, isn't he? 7.7. Fahim here with a super chat says, hey, Dan. Who to start between Cherki and Rodgers? And I think I would start Cherki. Cav to Dewsbury Hall and Senesi to Saliba for a hit? No. No, I don't think so. You're leading your mini league by 10, but my rival doesn't have double Arsenal defense. You want to match, if you're winning your mini league, you want to match them. You don't want to go different to them. Particularly not, if you're winning your mini league, you shouldn't be taking hits, pretty much full stop. There's very, very few exceptions to that. The exceptions would be if you have like 0 Arsenal players, or maybe 1 Arsenal player, and you need to get to double or triple Arsenal, and it requires a single hit to do it, then I would do it. But aside from that, If you're winning your mini leagues, if you're happy with your rank, it's time to chill out. It's time to play things cool and keep a cool, sensible head. Can you please answer my question? Haaland or Bruno for captain, please? If I had to choose one of those two players, I think I would probably choose Bruno. Should I buy Bruno G or Trossard? Trossard. Triple Arsenal is the priority for everyone. Like, if you don't have triple Arsenal yet, that's what you're going to spend your transfer on this week, pretty much. Whether that's to double up on the defense, whether it's to get Saka or Gyökeres, or if you haven't got Gabriel, or, you know, maybe you need to go a bit differential. Whatever the case, yeah, triple Arsenal is the priority this week. Do you think Semenyo will be benched? It depends what happens tomorrow. If Semenyo starts against Chelsea, then I would be worried about his minutes in game week 37. But, like, it's so frustrating, isn't it, that we've got the FPL deadline on Friday, then Man City and Chelsea play in the FA Cup final, then we have all of the other Premier League games, and then Chelsea and Man City play their games on Tuesday, which is ages away. So we're making a lot of decisions blind here with Man City players. I don't know. It depends how you feel about it. Haaland, I think I'd be happy with to start. Had his rest, had his full rest. I'd be happy for him to start. Cherky and O'Reilly, I feel like they've... Well, certainly O'Reilly, Cherky and Haaland got very unfortunate in game week 36. But maybe that's a good sign for their minutes going forward. Maybe. Whereas maybe players like Semenyo, you're a bit worried about. But, like, again, until we know what happens in the FA Cup, if Semenyo plays 120 minutes in the FA Cup somehow, then is he starting on Tuesday? Hell no, he's not starting on Tuesday. But we don't know. We don't know yet. Dan, what are your thoughts on Darlow this game week? I think he could be okay for this week, but I would worry that Perry may come in and start a game for Leeds between now and the end of the season. Semenyo always starts. He always starts until he doesn't start. Semenyo not been in great form, by the way. And if Semenyo is playing with Haaland, I think it makes him a lot worse of an asset. Because previously, when Semenyo was doing well, he was playing as kind of a second striker. Since going to a more of a wing position, he's really struggled to get involved at all in the Man City attack. As soon as Haaland came out of the team, Semenyo playing closer to goal and does brilliantly. Or, you know, at least scores a goal. Haaland's going to come back and play the remainder of games. Semenyo back to wide positions, not really even required in the team. You know, replaceable, early subs. I think had Haaland started in the second game in game week 36, Semenyo would have perhaps used that game as his rest. Perhaps. I don't know. And to be fair, Semenyo is not completely rotation proof. We've seen him get early subs, and also there was an FA Cup game not so long ago where he was benched. Where was that? I was not going to show it because he didn't play in it. Where was the FA Cup game? Who was it against? Well, pigeon just flew by my window and landed in a tree. Oh, 2 pigeons. Sorry. Just got distracted there. Right, I can't remember the game. Let's find it. Was it the was it this game? It was. So that was the game where Semenyo didn't play. I don't know if there was any others, possibly. Gabriel is even further ahead in his duck race now. All the other ducks have perished, unfortunately. Do I think DCL will start? I do think he'll start, yeah. I do think he will. I don't think it's guaranteed. Like when a team has kind of completed their objectives for the season, there's always that chance that they do try out some fringe players or give some fringe players some opportunities or give some youth players some opportunities. So you never fully know. Danny says Darlow and Dubravka goalkeepers, what to do, hate goalkeeper transfers. Yeah, it's a rough situation to be in, Danny. I've seen a lot of people in the similar situation. It's really tricky. It might be a case that you just have to cover yourself and bring in a new goalkeeper. Is Dubravka done? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Ezra's minutes over the next 2 games. I'm unsure. I don't think he starts both of the next 2. There's a chance he starts this week. But even if he starts this game week, I think he's a player who is in danger of a 59th minute sub. He's not a player I'd like to have in my team right now, really. Which is why I've not really mentioned him about, when we've been speaking about Arsenal players to get. Eze certainly would not be one of them. He'd probably be like my 8th favourite Arsenal player to buy, which when you're trying to really capitalise on a fantastic game week for Arsenal, you don't really want the 8th best Arsenal player in your team. And if for example, if someone was to have Eze in their team and they have, I don't know, 3 or 4 million in the bank and were able to make a simple switch from Eze to Saka, then I probably would recommend it. Triple up on Arsenal defence. You can do. I would much prefer to be on the attack than the defence, though. I think going too hard on the defence is kind of a wasted opportunity because you really have got some goal scoring chances for Arsenal in the final 2 game weeks. So I actually prefer to attack 1 defence from Arsenal. So triple defence, unless that's kind of your only route to get triple Arsenal, I would try and avoid it. You will get points, though. Don't get me wrong. You will get points out of triple Arsenal defence, but just think the upside is elsewhere. Saka or Gyökeres? Are we talking for buying them or captaining them? If I had to have one, it would be Saka. Trossard again, ole? Well, you reckon Trossard again in Gameweek 37? Look, I don't care at this point. In terms of Arsenal, I mean, I can pick the players I think will get the most FPL points, but I don't care who gets the FPL points as long as Arsenal win. If Arsenal can get themselves a nice 10-0 victory against Burnley and Gabriel, Saka and Gyökeres all manage to blank, it's fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. So if it has to be Trossard or Eze or Rice getting the points for Arsenal to secure this game, yeah, whatever. Club over FPL. I don't usually say club over FPL, to be fair, because FPL is kind of my job. But I would say my job, club, FPL. And since FPL is my job, if Arsenal draw a game, do you think they can outscore Man City? I think they'll give a bloody good go of it. I get a like for the pigeon moment. Oh, thank you. But you didn't even get to see the pigeons. I do appreciate the like. I probably, we're an hour and a half into this stream and I have not asked for a single like. So maybe I should do that right now. If you would like to like the stream, that would be very appreciated. Thank you very much to everyone who has already liked the stream. I'm sure there's a few of you. But now it's time for everyone else to like the stream. I know it's a lot of effort. I know. Maybe you're watching on a TV. Maybe, your phone is across the room if you're watching on your phone. Maybe you're watching on a second screen on your computer. And you have to switch over to the tab and click the like button. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I know it is. I know. I'm so sorry to have to do this to you. But it is time to like the stream, unfortunately. And once you've done it, you can go back to chilling out. So sometimes it's just better to get it done, get it over and done with, and then we can chill out for the rest of the stream. You know what? I am looking for those pigeons. that they don't seem to be coming back. The thing is, I have a door there and a window on the other side of that door. I usually have this door closed because my wife is often at home, but my wife had surgery a while ago. Some of you guys might know, and she's gone back to work today, which is brilliant. And it means I have the house to myself as well, which means that all of the doors are open, which means a door that is usually closed right there is wide open for once. And I'm looking through a window that I'm not usually looking through. And I'm getting things happening in my peripheral visions that normally don't happen. So it is distracting. Maybe I should just close that door so I'm not distracted by pigeons flying past me. Show cat, get loads of likes. You missed the cat today, Never. You missed the cat. Milton was here earlier in the stream. Do you see a world where Arsenal draw versus Burnley? No. I'm on the ground floor. I'm not. I'm on the top floor right now. That's the top floor. There are 2 floors to my house. A bottom one and a top one. I'm on the top one. I have some lovely trees out the window there. Just off my back garden, and apparently pigeons like to sit on top of them. Are you not bringing in any Everton players? I think I am going to do Lacroix to Keane. Should I? I mean, I'm reasonably confident I'm going to do that move at this point. Is it worth just going for it at this point? It does open up some options for me next week as well. Because it would mean I have, I think, 3.2 in the bank. Let's try it out. So if I do Lacroix to Keno. And then probably be looking to do Tavernier to someone. 8.6 I'd have to spend. So I could get any midfielder other than the premiums. Don't know who I'd even want, though, to be honest. Who are like the popular players right now? I mean, I could go for Bruno G against Wilson. 2 teams, nothing to play for. Could be an open one. That's definitely a consideration. Sobersley, probably not. I don't even know. Probably, yeah, I think I probably would go for Dewsbury Hall. Sorry, not Dewsbury Hall, Bruno G for Gameweek 38 in that instant. Think. Gakpo? Maybe? I don't really know who else. Milton looked very handsome in his little bow tie. He does, doesn't he? He's a very, very well-dressed young man. Very, very smartly dressed. His bow tie is a little big for him, but he doesn't mind. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. And this is the problem. One of the reasons why I'm actually fine to spend one of my transfers this week, because a lot of people are saying, try roll transfer to next week. And I think generally speaking, that is a smart idea. However, like realistically, what am I even using transfers on next week? I have no idea. I really don't. Like, could do like if Arsenal have won the Premier League, then maybe I'll do like a Gyökeres to Isak. Could we go for Florian Wirtz maybe as like a bit of a differential? Are there any other forwards we like? Is there any defenders I like for Game Week 38? Who are the best defenders for Game Week 38? Like Mavropanos. Did mention Mavropanos in yesterday's video. It's a potential buy. West Ham, if they're still fighting for survival. Yeah, but I think if West Ham are still fighting for survival, I think they'll be looking to just get the win over the line. So I don't know if it will be a high-scoring game necessarily. So it could just be a 1-0 and they'll just sit back and defend. So I think that does favour someone like Mavropanos rather than a Bowen. Fleming for the Wolves match. He could go for like Burnley or Wolves players. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's so tough out there. But that's why we don't have to make that decision right now, do we? But yeah, if I'm struggling on where I would use one transfer next week, I don't know what I would do with two. It's a good, it's good to have two just in case something crazy happens, like Arsenal have secured the Premier League 1 week early. That would be a great position to have more than one transfers. But even if that was to happen, I don't have a clue who I'd buy. Jaden Anthony? I guess interesting. Wolves-Burnley match could legit go 4-4, both relegated and both terrible. It's true. It's true. Who? Okay, let's check out the numbers for Burnley and Wolves players. Is there any standout attackers from either of these teams? Why are you not working? Let's do a refresh here. Okay, let's go 6 game week sample size. Go Wolves. Armstrong, maybe? At Wolves? Oh, yeah, he is the standout. But I mean, I say he's the standout. 0.89 XG in 5 games. It's shocking. All right, let's go Burnley. Yeah, it's Fleming or Anthony, isn't it? Fleming, to be fair. It's not the worst numbers. 16 shots, 6 in the box, 14. 6 on target, 14 in the box, 7 big chances, 2.5 XG, 3 key passes, and on penalties. Fleming game week 38 is interesting. Is very interesting. Could we run a Welbeck to Fleming transfer game week 38? Bit of a punt. If there's genuinely nothing else to do. Fleming is so wasteful, really lacks quality. He does get a lot of chances though. Numbers suggest a different thing. He's got 3 goals from 2.5 XG. It's probably just because he's taking a lot of shots. It looks like he's missing a lot of shots. But if there are a lot of low quality chances, then he is going to miss more than he scores. I can't say I've been keeping a super close eye on Fleming in recent game weeks. Burnley attack is a little more convincing. Anthony and Fleming have great games. Just look at the weak defenses. What are the Wolves? There is nothing at Wolves. Also, Welbeck loves to play against Man United. He does. And I think certainly if I was a DCL owner, I'd be more inclined to do DCL to Fleming. But as a Welbeck owner, it would be a luxury transfer. And I do wonder if I can find something a bit more interesting in midfield for next week. But right this very second, I honestly don't know. Because that seems to be a slightly more obvious. I mean, saying that, Tavernier and Scott are perfectly playable in game week 38. So I don't know. Maybe we run Florian Wirtz or something like that. Just flex the team value next week. That's the only real thing I can think of that's interesting. Exactly. Whenever Burnley play bad defence, those two get goals. All I'm saying is Burnley could get a fair few past Wolves. Could do, couldn't they? That's a good point. Oh, could do Tav to Anthony. Not this week, I mean next week. Could be interesting. I don't hate it. I think I prefer Fleming. If I could get Fleming, I perhaps would. But I don't see a clear route to him for me. Well, look, I think next week's just going to be a punt, no matter what the case. I don't know who it'll end up being. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy to do the Keane transfer this week. Pretty happy. Do we need a bench list, by the way? I mean, we'll do it in 20 minutes if we do. Hi, Dan. Do you think Wirtz will ever be as good as prime Philippe Coutinho? I mean, possibly. Possibly. We'll see. I think I don't know. If Liverpool were to change managers, you just don't know what's going to happen to players. We know Wirtz has quality. Is it just he needs a different manager to get the best out of him? Or just a different setup at Liverpool in terms of like the players around him? Not interested in Bowen if they still have a chance to stay up. Not really, not really, because I think if you are buying this week, then maybe. Samir here says Saliba, Trossard, or Gyökeres. Yeah, I mean Gyökeres if you have the choice. I would do Pedro to Gyökeres. But yeah, my concern is with that final game of the season is that West Ham just go for a 1-0 or just try and get the win and it won't be an attacking performance. It'll be a negative performance. And that won't suit someone like Bowen. But the Newcastle game, I expect that to be slightly more open. I expect Newcastle to score. And I expect West Ham will need to score probably need to score multiple goals in order to win that game. Which I think there's more appeal this week. There's more appeal to 2 game weeks of Bowen, I think, than 1. But some people will like Bowen for the final game week of the season. I think a common misconception when we're looking at that final game of the season, who has something to play for, who doesn't. A lot of the time, actually, the highest scoring games, if you're looking for attackers, are actually between 2 teams with nothing to play for, rather than teams with something to play for versus teams that have nothing to play for. People will often think those are the ones to target. And certainly in weeks prior to game week 38, they probably are. But in game week 38 itself, if you're looking for like those big, 4-2 wins or 4-3 or 3-3 or those kind of big score lines with lots of goals going in, it's usually between 2 teams with nothing to play for. So that's going to be, I think, did Rob T do an update on this? Not sure. So it's going to be like, who do Man United play? So it's not going to be Man United. Liverpool, who do they play in 38? Can't remember now. Liverpool face Brentford. Okay, so not that. What other games is likely to be? Sunderland against Chelsea, probably not. Newcastle against... They're Fulham, aren't they? Newcastle, Fulham. Yeah, so Newcastle, Fulham is a potential one for a big score. We mentioned Burnley and Wolves already. And Leeds play West Ham, right? Is that right? Leeds, West Ham. Yeah. And Forest Bournemouth. So really, the 2 games that look like they could be goal fests based on the nothing to play for versus nothing to play for theory is Fulham versus Newcastle and Burnley versus Wolves. So perhaps those are the games in which to punt. We're not as many games with nothing to play for as usual. Usually there's a few games with nothing to play for. But yeah, it's a really interesting end to the Premier League season, which is probably bad for game week 38 points. Generally. Saliba or Trossard? If I had to pick, I'd pick Trossard. If Bruno hasn't broken the record yet, I expect goals for that in that United Brighton game. Maybe, but who's that going to favour? If Bruno's just spamming like passes and crosses, Brighton are just going to turn over the play and go on the counter attack. Could be nice for Brighton attackers actually. Lewis Skelly captaincy punt? Not a chance. Not a chance. No. Should I captain Saka? Yeah, I mean, Saka is a good captain, I think. Sar to Bruno G from -4. Not from -4, no. Oh, you mean goals for both teams? Yeah, no, okay, I can see that. I can see that. I don't need to play risky. Reyes, Saliba, Trossard, or Gyökeres. It's still Gyökeres. If you have a choice, it's Gyökeres. Enzo and Gyökeres or Trossard and Joao Pedro. Enzo and Joao Pedro. Sorry, Enzo and Gyökeres. Hi, Dan. Gyökeres or Saka captain. I'm going to go for Saka. But I really don't mind Gyökeres. I like Gyökeres as a captain. I really don't want to give the impression that because I'm captaining Saka, I think Gyökeres or Gabriel are bad picks. I like all three a lot for captain. And I think they're all very viable. Very viable. What do you think about Lewis Skelly? Don't really see the point in buying him, to be honest. Kind of max 6 points. He's not going to get more than 6 points. He's not going to get defensive contribution points. He's very unlikely to get attacking returns. He doesn't really offer very much in terms of key passes or shots. And I don't think he's 100% nailed either. So I would not be buying Lewis Skelly personally. I think he could do better. Like if you need a defender, I would rather go for someone like Keane or Tarkovsky than Lewis Skelly, honestly. Gabriel or Bruno for captain, I'm chasing. Gabriel. Go Gabriel. Gabriel or Trossard captain. Again, Gabriel, I think. Hey, still got my triple captain chip. Rooted Gabriel Haaland. What does rooted Gabriel mean? I prefer Gabriel to Haaland this week. Lee says, hi, Dan. I'm bench boosting in Gameweek 37 and I don't have an Arsenal attacker. Do you think it's worth taking a -4 hit to take Rodgers out for an Arsenal midfielder? And if so, which one? Can't afford Saka. If it's not for Saka, Gyökeres, or Gabriel, I don't think it's worth taking a hit. And I think Rodgers will play. Max says, hey, Dan, I'm 0.1 off Tavernier to Njai. Do I use my other free transfer to do Van Heck as a Keen or just one free transfer to Dewsbury Hall? Just one. Yeah, just go for Dewsbury Hall. A lot of people prefer Dewsbury Hall to Njai. I don't. But a lot of people are very convinced that Dewsbury Hall is better. And by people, I don't really mean content creators. I mean more general public. I think he's just scored more points recently, right? He's a decent pick. Dewsbury Hall is a decent pick. And the drop-off, even though I do prefer Njai, I don't think the drop-off from Njai to Dewsbury Hall is that big. So, yeah. Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, or just keep Tavernier. That's also possible. Has there been a bench list? Not yet. We usually start the bench list 1 hour before deadline. So, yeah, in 10 minutes' time, we'll whip out the bench list. Njai might be better, but I already have Dewsbury Hall and he's cheaper. Oh, yeah, look, if you already have a player, then of course you're not going to make the switch. And if money is an issue, and either you can't afford Njai, or you feel that the money that you can save by going for Dewsbury Hall over Njai could be beneficial for another transfer, whether that be this week or next game week, then absolutely Dewsbury Hall is your answer. Absolutely, without a doubt. Dewsbury Hall's a good pick. But there can be more than one good picks. I think I'm ready to make my transfer. I think I've pretty much talked myself out of every other option at this point. And it allows me to take a punt in attack next week, which I like the look of. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to run it. We're going to do Lacroix out, Keane in. Don't really think there's anything else that would change. Is there anything else that would change my mind? Maybe Liverpool team news. Which I haven't got yet. Hmm. Not really sure. I think it might just be time to make the move. I think I'm happy. I don't think I'll change my mind at this point. There we go. Cool. Right. Well, I think I'm locked in. Over an hour till deadline, and I'm for once locked in this early. It means I can just chill out and help you guys out for the next hour and a bit without having to worry about my team at least. I think this looks good though. I'm happy with this. Line up for you. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I think this looks good. I say good. Nothing is fully convincing when you've got triple Man City and you're coming off the back of a Pep Guardiola roulette session. But the rest of it looks, I think, reasonably good. Thoughts on Rice over Trossard? Not massively keen on Rice. I think Rice could be fine for this game week, to be fair, but he's not a player who I'd want generally. It's just the floor is maybe slightly higher. Like DEFCON is not guaranteed with him. I do think this is an okay game for defensive contributions for him compared to most recent game weeks where he's just not been likely to get it at all. So I think this is an okay game for DEFCON potentially. But his open play attacking threat is just not there at all at the moment, particularly with no Zubimendi. Rice has to do, so much of the midfield defensive work that you're kind of relying on him scoring a free kick for the first time since Real Madrid or getting a corner assist for attacking returns. So he's okay, but it's not anything exciting. Not nearly exciting enough for such a great opportunity for points in this fixture against Burnley. And I don't really like him for that Crystal Palace game. He's okay for a 1 week punt, but like if you're punting, you go for a player with high upside, right? If you're wanting to punt, Trossard is the kind of player, right? Would you risk Van Dijk this week? I mean, I'd be happy to play him. There's no real harm in playing him. He will play. He will start. He will have a good chance of getting defensive contribution points in that game. He's fine. He's fine. He's one of those players that I don't think it's worth a transfer in order to bench him if you only have like one transfer. If you have multiple transfers, then maybe you think about moving him to like a Everton defender, perhaps. But it would be a bit luxurious. Hey Dan, goalkeeper transfer hit for Dubravka out on bench boost. Yeah, you might have to. But like, who would I actually take a hit for? Pickford or Raya? That's about it. So hopefully you can afford to do that. Unless Kelleher versus Palace, potentially. That's not bad. Would you risk 2 Brighton? I'm risking 3 Brighton. I literally am risking 3 Brighton. What are all these risks? These aren't risks. Where is the risk in all of this? I don't see it. I have Rare, so I was thinking Pickford. If you can afford to do Dubravka to Pickford, then yeah. Yeah, by all means. I think it works. It's not an ideal situation, but in theory, you're more likely to be up on that hit than down. Not by very much, but you're more likely to be up than down. Hi, Dan. Do you recommend taking a -4 for bringing in midfielder or keep Anderson and Rodgers? Oh, I'd keep Anderson and Rodgers. Would you take a -4 for triple Arsenal? I would take a -4 to Gabriel, Saka, or Gyökeres. Only those 3 players. And more likely if you're gonna captain them. Hi, Dan. What's your thoughts on Rodgers to Ryan? What, against Man City? I don't think so. It's not the week for Ryan. And arguably neither is... Well, actually, I say that. If Bournemouth are going to score against Man City, and that is a big if, Ryan is probably the player I would pick to score against Man City this week on the counter-attack. You know, running out the hopefully a partially exposed defense there. Yeah, but also no, because why would you pick why would you intentionally buy players against Man City? Is there any player who's about to place Man City or Arsenal, just as a general rule, just don't buy them? Is Sarr going to play for Wolves? It looks like he is, yeah. Looks like he is. Lisa Snay says, hey, Dan, I forgot to set my triple captain last week. Would you recommend using the chip this week? Yes, I would. I would. Whoever you were planning on captaining this week, triple captain it. Charlie's here, says, Mr. Marbella, how are you? Can I be called Mr. Marbella? I've been to Marbella. How many times have I been? 3 times, maybe? Twice? Not been in a while. Yes, we did meet at that airport that one time. I'm good though. Can't afford Gyökeres. Thoughts on Tavernier to Trossard? If you can't get Gyökeres, I think Trossard is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Would you sell Rice to Trossard for a -4? No, I would not. Hi, Dan. I have Calvert-Lewin. Should I start both for Bruggen and Van Hegel? Oh, of course. This is a lot of people's problems with... I didn't even really consider that a lot of people would have Calvert-Lewin against double Brighton defence this week. Yeah, that's not ideal, is it? That's such an interesting kind of point, isn't it? Depending on who you are and what your team looks like, you might be more or less likely to bench certain players or even make moves in order to fix it. But in a situation where you have double Bryson defense and single Leeds attack, it might be easier to play both of the Leeds defenders and bench play both of the Brighton defenders and bench the Leeds attacker. Because that way you only need to worry about benching one player rather than benching 2. Ro Machete here says, I have 2 free transfers. What's the advantage of rolling one? You're going to get a lot of access to information going into Game Week 38. There's going to be a lot of things that are in play, out of play. Lots of little agendas and storylines and things that you could potentially capitalize on. And the more free transfers you have, the more you're going to be able to take advantage of that, in theory. There's also the prospects of Arsenal beating Burnley and Man City dropping points against Bournemouth. And if that were to happen, those with 1 free transfer in Game Week 38 are going to be screwed. So you're also, by saving free transfers, you're kind of taking a chance on that outside possibility. And if that outside possibility does come true, then you're going to have an advantage over a lot of FPL managers. So there are definitely some advantages. Carl says, if you're happy with your rank, DCL and Bright Defense could be regarded as insurance. That's a good point, Carl. That is a good point. Anna says, I've been on top in my mini league for the entire season. Last week, my boyfriend overtook me by 15 points. 2 weeks left. Differential captain, a must. He'll go for Haaland. I can't lose after all this. That's brutal. Last game week really was brutal, by the way. It was so swingy. Screwed over a lot of people. I think a lot of people had a lot of poor fortune. And a lot of people have a lot of good fortune. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to captain Haaland, it's time to captain an Arsenal player and reap the rewards. Right, bench list. It's bench list o'clock. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Let's, in that case, get some bench list suggestions in the chat, I think. Whilst I open it up. Okay. So, name a player who you're thinking about benching. And I cannot stress enough that this is not a transfer tier list. So if I see Arsenal players in here, I am going to scream. Right. Rodgers. Gross. Joao Pedro. Never. Don't test me. Do not test me today. Hill. I've been streaming for 2 hours and I've still got another hour and 15 to go. I am entering into territory of losing my mind. Ian says, do you think Casemiro plays both games remaining? Both games? Maybe. I wouldn't be totally convinced by it. Casemiro. All right. Now we're talking business. I'm going to put Casemiro here. Enzo here. Yeah. Here. Wilson is going to go above all of these guys. Sarr, I don't think is actually that bad this week. I would maybe put him around Gross. Bowen's good. I like Bowen. Actually, I'm going to put Bowen ahead of Wilson. Welbeck is a definite play this week. I think Welbeck, I'm going to put him above Bowen. Or am I? No, I'm going to put him just below Bowen. He's going to be up there, though. Njai. Why does Njai need to go on the bench list? Why does Keane need to go on the bench list? Lacroix can go on the bench list, though. I'm going to put him here. Calvert-Lewin. I think just because he's a penalty taker, I think by virtue of that, that is going to put him a little higher than some of these guys. But I'm not going to go crazy. What are they saying that? If I'm honest, it's the penalties. The penalties are putting him above Casemiro and Joao Pedro. I think for this week, I prefer Calvert-Lewin to Joao Pedro, but over 2 game weeks, I prefer Joao Pedro to Calvert-Lewin. I think I'm happy to say that. Right, we probably need to put Tavernier in here somewhere, right? Who I'm going to put below Rodgers. Henderson in the goalkeeper category. Yep. I mean, I guess we put Raya, Pickford, Henderson. Bravka's not even going to play, probably. Why is Dewsbury Hall being suggested to be benched? 3 people have just said Dewsbury Hall. Tell me why you're thinking of benching Dewsbury Hall, and if you've got a good reason, I'll put him on the bench list. Verbruggen and Darlow in goalkeepers? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Verbruggen is higher than Darlow, I think, generally speaking. And Darlow... Because of all of the injuries that Leeds have, I'm going to put Darlow a little lower than Henderson. But again, like we kind of Carl was mentioning earlier, if you have Calvert-Lewin and also Brighton defensive assets, that may impact, your motivations a little bit, because you might not want to play your players against each other, particularly if you're chasing and you want to go all or nothing. You probably either play Calvert-Lewin and bench your Brighton defenders, or play your Brighton defenders and bench Calvert-Lewin. What else we got here? Stack, similar case to Calvert-Lewin. Like, it may be dependent on your Brighton defensive coverage, but in general, Stack, he's just like kind of fine-ish. I'm gonna put him around gross area, I think. Anderson against United away. I still think Anderson's worth a shout, at least, with the DEFCONs. I'm going to put him here. He's like fine, somewhere in the middle. Oh, lots of Mukiele suggestions. Not ultra keen on Mukiele this week, but he's again DEFCON potential. So I think that does bump him above a couple of players here. But Everton are scoring a lot at the moment, and Sunderland have just not been good at all, really. They've been really poor. So for that reason, I'm not going to put Mukiele super high. He's playing as a centre back at the moment as well, so you don't even get the attacking threat. Asking Dewsbury Hall because I also own Wilson, which to bench. Neither. If I put Dewsbury Hall on this list, he's going like the top. Him versus Wilson. I mean, maybe I've kind of been blinded by, because as soon as I say, I've been kind of mentioning either on social media or on YouTube, I think I prefer Njai to Dewsbury Hall, and I've just been hit with an absolute avalanche of Dewsbury Hall is the greatest ever player to ever play in the world of football. So I just assumed that everyone was kind of like so hyped on Dewsbury Hall that the only reason that they could ever be wanting to put him on the bench list is because they're trying to use the bench list as a transfer list, and that is against the rules. To be fair, Mukiele has 17 points from 2 games. You say that, but one was against Wolves, and he scored in that game. So that's, you take a 2 game week sample size where a defender scored, you're always going to see high points. And the second point is, he played against Manchester United, where it was just a poor game generally. Didn't even get DEFCON in that game, did he? Why is Hill so low? Surely he gets DEFCONs against City and Tav blanks. But like, yes, he probably will get DEFCON against City, but he's also going to probably concede minimum 2 goals, which is going to directly kind of counter that. Do we really think Hill's, got enough DEFCON? Is the DEFCON 2 points that it's not even guaranteed worth playing him in a game where we know he's going to concede? I feel like we just fell into that trap with Lacroix last game week of saying, oh, yes, Lacroix, he's playing Man City, but, at least he'll get DEFCON, so it'll be fine. Boom, a 3-pointer. Never thought I'd see the day you turn on Hill, Dan. I mean, to be fair, since everyone started buying him, he's caused me nothing but pain pretty consistently, and has been a big part of why my season is tanked. Or he might not concede 2 goals. I mean, I guess, but like, do we really think Man City are not scoring against Bournemouth? Do we really think that? Look, if you, I'm an Arsenal fan. I would love it if Bournemouth kept a clean sheet against Man City, but like, let's be realistic here. Those Palace returns were obvious, mate. I mean, yeah, in the sense that everything is obvious with the benefit of hindsight, you're absolutely correct. Ghana and VVD. Well, I mean, look, I don't think many people have Ghana, but we can put Virgil on here because I do think some people do have Virgil. So I don't actually mind him, Virgil. I think there is a chance that Liverpool keep a clean sheet here. They haven't been great defensively, but like, I don't think it's out of the question. And I think he'll get DEFCON as well. And you always got some attacking threat there as well. Some people genuinely are looking for Dewsbury Hall in this list. So, you know what? I'll put him in. Virgil. I'm going to put him higher than Mukiele. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to put Dewsbury Hall in here pretty high. Maybe higher than Welbeck. Maybe higher than... I think he's probably just top, no? I think I'd play Dewsbury Hall above all of these players. Ruffs against Everton. Ooh, good one. I'm going to put him here. Van Hecker, that's a good one. A lot of people have Van Hecker. Good suggestion. Let's throw him not crazy high, but I don't think crazy low either. A DEFCON defender against a team ramsacked by injuries. Let's put him... Probably going to be higher than all of the other defenders on this list, at least. Put him above Gross. I think I'm happy to put him above Gross. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's fine for this week. Right. I'm going to check to see if any of the odds changed or shifted at all. What are the Leeds? Clean sheet odds. The same Brighton, 26% chance of a clean sheet against Leeds. That just feels so harsh. Feels really harsh. 1-1, the most likely outcome. I don't know. Right, Munoz. Do we just put Munoz in a similar place to Lacroix? Should we have them twinning at the bottom here? There we go. Two pals at Crystal Palace together. Wow, look at them together. Will Trossard play against Burnley? I think he will. Should I play Baleba instead of Hill? No, I don't think so. Play 2, Verts, Watkins, Mukiele, and Chow. I would play... I don't think Verts is going to play. Watkins, I think, will play, but I don't know for sure. Let's say Watkins and Mukiele. Is Rio and Gamoa worth a punt? It's lots of people mentioning Rio and Gamoa. Like, he's kind of just all eye test, no? He's fun to watch, but has he really done anything to prove that he's going to be a good FPL asset yet? Considering his minutes risk. I don't know. I feel like he's a fun player, but very, very raw. Minutes still far from guaranteed. Even if he starts, you're getting an early sub. So is he worth a punt? For me, not really, no. Are we sure that benching Brighton players for Leeds ones this game week? No. No, not at all. Not at all. If I had to go one way or the other, I would probably rather play the play the Brighton defenders, but we're kind of comparing apples and oranges here. If you have Calvert-Lewin and one Leeds and one Brighton defender, but you also have three other good defenders, then you probably play Calvert-Lewin and bench Van Hecker. But if you only have two good defenders and Van Hecker's kind of your third defender, then you have to play three defenders somehow. Maybe your other two defenders are like Hill and Senesi, for example. Then in that case, you probably play Van Hecker and bench Calvert-Lewin. So it's like impossible to really give just a overarching applies to all. Who should you play? Your Brighton defenders or your Leeds attackers? Because it's so team dependent. And it also depends on whether you want to hedge your bets or, take a risk. Where does Scott go? He goes in the Tavernier zone. One place above him, I think. I do keep changing my mind on Scott's position, but I am going to put him there. How about Szoboszlai? Szoboszlai you play. I think I'd put Szoboszlai fairly high today. I'd put him maybe around Bowen and Welbeck, somewhere like here. I like him. O'Reilly on the bench list, please. Surprise, Harry has him below Tav. Harry has a bench list as well now? Does anyone not have a bench list now? It's fun being a pioneer, but I would like to maintain some original content on the channel. But O'Reilly on the bench list. Sue him down. I mean, I honestly, if I wasted time suing people for using my FPL ideas, then I wouldn't have time to make FPL content anymore. Let's mimicry is the finest form of flattery. That's what I tell myself. I know Andy's been doing bench lists and that's I knew about that one. Ugh. It's so, it's just I just do find it frustrating. Because I really do want to create original content. But whenever I create original content, within a couple of months, it's no longer original, which is great. It means that I'm doing a good job. It means I just find myself in a constant cycle of trying to keep things fresh and things not staying fresh for very long. Regardless, we are going to add... Who did I say? Who did I just say? O'Reilly. I was going to put O'Reilly in here. Harry does it before the live stream. So not only... Oh, man. Not only are people doing the bench list, but they're beating me to my own bench list. I like doing it as an interactive thing, though. Stop complaining, says Steve. Sorry, Steve. Anything else? What would you watch? What am I allowed to talk about, Steve? Just to make sure you're okay. Is that okay? Sorry, Steve. Sorry. Where do I put O'Reilly? I mean, I put O'Reilly's one of those picks where it's kind of like high risk, high reward. His floor is lower than a lot of these guys, but his ceiling is going to be higher. So therefore, as someone who likes a good ceiling, I'm going to put him a little bit higher. I don't know how high. Probably because of the minutes risk. I'm going to put him around here. I'm going to put him around the middle. He's fine. He's fine. Look, we know he's not a perfect pick for this week, but he's fine. I'm not going to overestimate, but I would put him above the Bournemouth guys. I'm more than happy to play O'Reilly above my Bournemouth players. That's the point I was making. Harry does allow subs. Oh, right. So people decide on the bench list. And I don't want to talk about this anymore, Carl, if I'm honest. I don't want to talk about it. I'm honest. If I'm 100% honest, and I know Steve said I'm not allowed to complain anymore, but I have such on my self-esteem as a content creator has never been lower. And I honestly, I just try and block out what everyone else is doing at this point and just try and focus on my own thing. So the more I hear about what other people are doing, other content creators are doing, whether they're using the same ideas as me or, doing better than me or whatever, it's just not good for my mental health at all. I have like the biggest imposter syndrome in the world when it comes to making FPL content right now. To the extent where there was a point last week where I was thinking, should I maybe just do one more season? I've got some sponsorships secured for next season. Should I just do one more season and then maybe do something else. I decided in the end that I'm going to give... I'm not going to make any major decisions like right now, but... Crikey. But look, there's so much positivity, and there always has been, and like... Don't want to go on about this. Maybe after the deadline has passed. But the comments are always so kind and so supportive. I'm just a person who generally is quite an insecure person. And it's something I need to work on. It's definitely something I need to work on. So let's get back to this. You've earned a like for your misery. Thank you. Major life decision sounds like we need a coin cost. You know what? Maybe I should do a duck race. Duck number 1. Dan quits FPL Mate. Option number 2. Dan continues with FPL Mate. Could sell the channel, to be fair. I don't know if I'll be able to retire, but it might keep me going for a few months whilst I figure out what I want to do with my life. But now I want to do YouTube with my life. There's no doubt about it that what I want to do is YouTube. Right. We can come back to this after the deadline if you want to. But I don't want to spend the final 35 minutes before deadline complaining. Fantasy World Cup in the summer. Okay, Tango, I can't lie. That is something that I am really looking forward to. I'm obsessed. I've said this before. I'm obsessed with international fantasy football. I think I'm good at it as well. I don't have... When it comes to World Cup fantasy, Euro fantasy, I have zero imposter syndrome. That's my thing. Anyway, I'm not going away anytime soon. If I do leave FPL, mate, it won't be for at least another year. And even that is fairly unlikely. It's just possible. Right. Come on. Let's keep things... Let's keep things on topic in the chat, please. Come on, chat. You're getting distracted. Come on. Wondering if Burnley, worst defending, open play, strikers on corners, wing play, is the best breaker on Saka versus Gyökeres. Honestly, you're looking for tiebreakers on Saka versus Gyökeres. I do think this game, if we're looking at who does this game suit more, I think the answer is Gyökeres. I do think this is a Gyökeres game more than it is a Saka game. However, there is just more upside to Saka because he has access to extra points for goals, access to DEFCON, access to probably better access to bonus points in many ways, and access to a clean sheet point. So a couple of super chats here, a couple of very generous super chats actually. Thank you so much. Wheelchair Mafia says, hi Dan, I have 2 free transfers, thinking of transferring Bowen out for Kroopy and Rice to Saka, or save a transfer and do Rodgers to Dewsbury Hall. I definitely see the appeal. You've got 2 free transfers and you have the opportunity to get Saka. I think I would maybe do it. But could you do someone else instead of Bowen? Instead of Kroopy Jr.? Is there a chance to maybe go to like a Beto or a Fleming? Particularly if you can bench them this week. Fleming could be really nice at 5.3 million for game week 38. So I would perhaps do that if that's in your price range. And if not, Beto maybe at 5 million. Basically, if you can avoid going for Kroopy, I would maybe try and find someone else. But if not, still fine. And we got another super chat from NDF94, €10 to say you're an absolute legend, Dan. That's very, very kind of you, my friend. You really, really did not have to do that. But thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you. Thank you. But now I just feel awful because now I feel like I've given a sob story to try and to squeeze money out of people, which definitely was not the plan at all. So yeah, appreciated, but don't feel like you need to do that, please. But thank you. Comedy Addict says, good, I've sold you on Fleming then. You have, to be fair. You have. Triple captain Trossard or Gabriel. If it's a triple captain probably Gabriel is your safe bet. Any Villa leaks yet, Dan? To be fair, Lee, I'm going to be 100% honest. Villa leaks are, pretty much non-existent in the world of FPL. Yeah, they keep, when it comes to like their leaks, they keep things very, very tight. So I wouldn't expect any news from Aston Villa. You're more than likely going to have to just go with your gut on this one. Hi, Dan. Do I do Rodgers to Bruno G or Njai? PS, you're the best FPL content creator by far. It's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Thank you, Brad Telly. Would I do that move? I think I would. I think I would do Rodgers to Bruno G or Njai. I don't know which one. I was really leaning towards Njai yesterday, but today I'm kind of thinking, do I like Bruno G? I'm going to say Bruno G. We've got another super chat here from Temi Hats, who says, "Hi Dan, I'm currently leading my mini league with 30 points with 1 free transfer. Good stuff. Should I sell Joao Pedro for Gyökeres? My team: O'Reilly, Gabriel, Van Hecke, Lacroix, Hill, Cherky. I don't even need to see your team, Temi Hats. You have put on the end of the message, thank you for all you do. Of course, man. Like, it's his job. Of course, man. It's what I do. But yeah, if you have the opportunity with 1 free transfer to move Joao Pedro to Gyökeres, you have the money in the bank ready to go. It's a no-brainer. If you have no other problems in your team and it looks like you don't really, I would be happy to make that move. Lock it in. Ahmed says Gabriel, Saka or Gyökeres for captain. I'm on Saka. Let's we'll take the bench list off screen for a minute. This is where I'm at right now. Jordan talks FPL. The $4.99 super chat to throw in a goat emoji is absolutely crazy. Legend. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that, bro. I really, really do. The super chats are very generous. I'm feeling bad now. Maybe I should turn these off. No more super chats, please. I will do my best to answer all regular chats. No more super chats. Is it worth taking a hit this late on in the season? This is from Taurine. Looking to transfer out Joao Pedro and Enzo for Gyökeres and Giroud from -4. I would say only if you're bringing in Gyökeres to captain him. If not, is it possible to just do Enzo to Trossard? Is that affordable? It must be affordable, right? Looking through your moves. Yeah, I think I'll just do Enzo to Trossard in your situation. And Polo here says Raya to Gyökeres. Huh? Then only 4 million for a keeper. Okay, so I guess it's a double transfer. If your second goalkeeper is only like a Darlow or a Verbruggen, no, sorry, not Verbruggen, a Dubravka, and you're going to be running like 2 ultra cheap goalkeepers, I mean, maybe you could go for Kinski. That's my only thought. If you were to do that, you can maybe go Kinski as your goalkeeper. He's 4 million, right? Let me double check this. Kinski, 3.9. So you could do that. And certainly, I think that would improve your team. But is it a good use of 2 transfers? That I'm not sure on. And that, I think, depends on who you'd be selling for Gyökeres. If you're selling like a terrible forward for Gyökeres, then yeah, fair enough. Maybe it's worth it. But if you're selling like a Welbeck or a Joao Pedro or a Bowen or a Thiago, someone like that, then I don't think I would. Jake here says, Dan, you are the GOAT FPL creator. Thank you very much, my friend. Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel Haaland. Oh, if you're asking for captaincy advice, I'm on Saka. Another super chat from Temi here. Say you're the best. Thank you, Temi. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Whoa. What have I done? I clicked the wrong button. And you know what? That's going to restart my timer. See what you've done, Temi? You're just distracting me with your generosity and making me do silly things. And now I need to fix this. It's a good thing to be distracted by, to be fair. But now I need to fix the timer till deadline, which is like 27 minutes, right? I'll keep resetting it until the clocks change. Captain poll. We could do a captain poll, to be fair. Probably do one. Can we get an FPL Mate dance at 350 likes? Come on, man. I'm not that desperate. 500 likes is the rule. Yeah. Okay, if we were to do a captain poll, who would go in it? Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, Bruno. The thing is, there's going to be... There we go, that's about right. The thing is, there's going to be a lot of people on differential captains. So let me know in the chat who your captain's armband is on right now. And then I can look through those answers and kind of get a rough idea on who the kind of top 3 most popular guys are. So quick chat, guys. Whoever your captain is right now. And then hit enter. We're going to get a vibe. Saka, because you told me to. Do not listen to me blindly. That's that could go wrong. Okay, lots of people saying Saka. It looks like Gabriel seems to be second favorite here, actually, and Haaland. Maybe Haaland's third favorite, or is Bruno? Gabriel is very popular here, so it's definitely Saka and Gabriel. These seem to be very popular, and then I think third is between Bruno and Haaland, and I really, really can't tell. How about a poll? What about a poll for the poll? Let's do a pre-poll. We're doing a pre-poll poll. Pre-poll poll. The pre-poll poll is is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Pre-poll poll. No, not free poll poll. A pre-PRE poll. So the pre-poll poll is who is the best captain out of Bruno, Haaland, Gyökeres, and Thiago. And this pre-poll poll is going to last like 30 seconds. And whoever wins this is going on the main poll. The winner of this goes onto the main poll, along with Saka and Gabriel. Not the pre-poll poll. We're not talking about Polish people or tall masts. Right, the pre-poll poll's done. Bruno won. I told you we were only throwing it up for like 30 seconds. 90 voted, to be fair. A qualifying poll. Exactly, it's a qualifying poll. Who is... Okay, this is the main poll. It's coming up now. I'm just typing it in. Who is the best captain for Game Week 37? And the options are Saka, Gabriel, our pre-poll poll winner, Bruno Fernandes, and other, who I have a feeling other might do quite well today. Recount. No recounts, man. I told you this. The poll is only going up. It was a flash poll. I'm not going to waste time on the pre-poll polls. It's just the qualifying. Other is doing very well today. Would you captain Gabriel if you had triple defense? So essentially going quad defense? No. No, I don't think I would. Or would I? It's so bold. It's so risky. Yeah, it's kind of the exact kind of thing I would do, let's be honest. Yeah, I would do it. I would do it. Hey, I'm planning on free hit. What should my ideal team look like, please? That's a big question, man. Like, I can't really spend. We got 20 minutes till deadline, so I can't really build a full team for you. But certainly, Gabriel, Saka, Gyökeres, Njai, Keane. Maybe go double defense with Tarkovsky. That's 6 players. Bruno G, that's 7. Haaland 8. Bruno Fernandes 9. That's about as far as I can go. Discord has 42% Saka, 25% other, 70% Bruno, 70% Gabriel. Which Discord is that? Which server? The expert server? Or is it someone else's server? Midfielder for 7 million. Njai or Bruno G are my 2 favourites. Gross to Bruno G for a -4. I'm not really keen. Oh, main FPL Mate server. Let's check it out. You know what? I'm not going to check this out. This can be saved for later. But it's interesting. But you know what? I have so much faith in you guys that I trust the poll results of this chat more than anything. Super chat from Thomas, who says, or Tommaso, who says, chasing 30, captain, Saka, Gyökeres, Dewsbury, Gabriel, Haaland. I think if you're chasing a Gyökeres captain or a Gabriel captain is where I'd be looking. If you're chasing against other highly engaged FPL managers. If you're just chasing against fairly, casual managers, which, by the way, I cannot stress this enough. When I say casual, it is not an insult at all. Like, it is okay to not dedicate your life to something. There are lots of things that I don't dedicate my life to, and I am a casual at, and that's fine. And it's not an insult. So sometimes FPL managers are going to be a little bit more casual, and they won't put as much thought or effort into FPL, and they can still do very well despite that. And those people are probably going to be less inclined to Saka. I feel like Saka is going to be, like 50% pick rate, maybe, or close to 40 to 50% captain pick rate among highly engaged FPL managers. But when we take the masses, the overall player base, whatever you want to call it, I think there will be a lot more distrust towards Saka, and we will see players like the usual suspects like Bruno and Haaland being captained, probably just as much, if not more than Saka. So if your mini league rival, if you're chasing your mini league rival and they're a fairly casual manager, I would go for Saka. And if you're chasing your mini league rival, but they're pretty engaged, then at that point, I'd be looking at Gyökeres and Gabriel. If you're just playing for points, then they're all as good as each other. But I think depending on what you're trying to do, you might have a slightly different strategy. Why am I so against Haaland this week? I think away against Bournemouth is not the easiest fixture in the world. And it's not that I dislike Haaland. I think Haaland could score very well. But it seems a shame to go for a Haaland when there are some genuinely huge opportunities elsewhere. There's no doubt about it. Arsenal versus Burnley is the very best at home, is the very best fixture that the best team in the Premier League will have all season. So it makes a lot of sense to throw your captain's armband in that direction. That's where the biggest points are going to be. You also have the concern about Haaland's minutes a little bit, I guess. Actually, am I concerned about Haaland's minutes? No, I'm not. I could see him getting an 80-minute sub or something maybe, but he's not going to get benched. So Saka is a differential. I think in the wider player base, Saka is a differential, yes. But yes. I would say so. Samit, thank you very much for the kind words there. Yaz says, hi mate, who would you do, Anderson or Rodgers? 2. Already got triple Arsenal and thinking going Tarkowski and Njai/Dewsbury Hall. I think Anderson's got to go because he's out for the season. I would go Anderson to Keane. Looks like a strong move. I would Anderson to Keane. If you've got a free transfer, I would just do it. Rodgers to... Rodgers is a little bit more luxurious, but if you if you have the free transfer, I would go to either Njai or Bruno G, given the choice. And finally, I have for you some Liverpool team news. I have a little bit of Liverpool team news. So Isak is out, which explains why the markets were dropping on Liverpool goals, and Wirtz is on the bench. So no Isak this week. So if you are an Isak or Wirtz owner, and I don't think there'll be many of you, then it might be time to sell. Hang on, I better tweet this out because otherwise people will complain at me for withholding information. Okay, so there we go. And that will be officially announced in 30 minutes time anyway. Cool. FPL Mate exclusive. Yeah, we're doing exclusive Liverpool leagues now. You can't find them anywhere else, these Liverpool leagues. We've been doing them for a few weeks now. We got the exclusives. Finally. I've been waiting for years to be the exclusive leaker for a certain team. Defense options better than Van Hecke. If you're looking to buy, I'd be looking at Everton or Arsenal. Why captain Saka over York? York takes pens. I mean, yeah, that's true. I just feel that's... I mean, also, I don't think that's guaranteed, but I think you're probably right. I feel Saka has a slightly higher ceiling. Hi, Dan, would you start Gross over DCL? What did I put on the bench list? I feel like I had them fairly close. We've got 15 minutes. If anyone wants to throw in a couple more suggestions for the bench list, then I'd be happy to do it. What surprises is there with slot lineups? I guess the surprise is Isak's injured again. I think we had a suspicion that Wirtz would not be in the starting 11. We believe Salah is going to be getting a few minutes from the bench as well. So that's because Slot literally said that. So what else does that mean? It means probably Frimpong right wing, Szoboszlai attacking mid, and Szoboszlai on penalties. You know what? This is a big boost to Szoboszlai. Actually, the more I think about this, if you're a Szoboszlai owner, I'm actually going to bump him up based off this information. I'm going to put him in first. That's really good for him because he'll be nailed on penalties and he'll be playing attacking midfielder. Very good news. So Rio's probably starting in that case. So it'd be Rio on the left, Gakpo up front, Szoboszlai behind, the striker, and Frimpong on the right. Yeah, that's interesting. James Justin. Okay, let's throw in James Justin. People do have him, don't they? I think above. Actually, I'm going to put him below Hill, actually, because at least Hill's going to get Defcom. I'd be trying to avoid playing Justin if possible. I still wouldn't buy Rio and Gamoa, though. Captain Gabriel. Yeah, I think he's certainly an option. There's some people who really want to take the punt on Gamoa. If you want to take the punt, just do it. But you're not doing. You're not getting the FPL Mate seal of approval on this one, I'm afraid. Who would you start? DCL or Cherky, considering rotation risk? We can throw Cherky in here. I think I would play Cherky above Calvert-Lewin, though. Yeah, no, I would. Now that Cherky's had his rest, I think he should be good to play now. I don't think it's a guarantee. And, you know, if results go a certain way. Yeah, it could be tricky. Would you vice captain Gabriel or Gyökeres? Probably Gabriel, just because security of minutes. What do you think about Rice and Joao Pedro to Njai and Gyökeres? I mean, if that's for free, then I quite like it. Any Liverpool news? Yeah, Wirtz is. Yeah, we did mention a few minutes ago, but Wirtz is on the bench and Isak's out. So there's your Liverpool exclusive. Feels like mid-season captain and Saka like old times. Yeah, it is a classic. But look, as an Arsenal fan, I'm very happy he's in the conversation again. It means people think he's good after all. Let's start Virgil or O'Reilly. I've got O'Reilly above Virgil on the bench list, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. O'Reilly is high risk, higher reward, and Virgil is kind of lower risk, lower reward. What are your thoughts on Southampton / Middlesbrough? I hope that Middlesbrough come up to the Premier League. That's what I'll say on that. How much did Wirtz and Isak cost? Yeah, a lot, but that's a different conversation. Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. You could do. I mean, I'm not massively enthusiastic about that move. I know a lot of people will be making it, and there's no doubt it does improve your team if you are making that move. But I don't know. I've struggled to find a lot of enthusiasm about that move. So a lot of the bench-related questions are indeed answered on screen for you guys. So yeah, if you have got a bench-related decision, make sure you are checking out the bench list. I will throw Florian Wirtz and I'm gonna put a little seat icon next to him, and then I'll just put Isak on the bottom because he's out. Right. Do you have the positions conceded for the Arsenal Burnley game? We can have a look at it quickly. Let's go find Tom Hadley. Right, let's actually. Is it this? It's here. So. Oh, well, it'll be the top team, won't it? Okay. So we've got left wing 7.1, right wing 6.3, which is, I think, why a lot of people are leaning towards Trossard as a nice little pick. Over 2 game weeks, it seems that right wing is favourable. Liverpool team news is no Isak, no Wirtz. So, I mean, you can pretty much guess the Liverpool team from this point. So it would be, although goalkeeper, I still don't know, because Alisson's been back in training. But anyway, there's that. Should we leave my team on screen for the show team, gang? Final 8 minutes. Opinion on Captain Gyökeres? Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely fine. What do you think of Enzo as a risky differential? I think there's probably better options. Why Keane rather than Njai? I had an epiphany earlier, basically, when I was doing, because I was completely undecided on what I was going to do. I just thought I'd go all in on research, and I had an epiphany and started looking through centre-back performances against Sunderland, and it will look good. DEFCON defenders always get DEFCON points against Sunderland over the last 6 game weeks, couple of months. And they're also weak to set pieces, which means you could get yourself a little bit of luck. Decent clean sheet odds. Yeah, I think I'm searching for a 17 pointer, and I think Michael Keane is one of those players who has that 17 pointer potential. So I'm searching for a high upside pick. I believe that Keane has a higher upside and a higher floor than players like Njai and Bruno G and Dewsbury Hall. So, therefore, Michael Keane came in. In he came. Everton have 0 clean sheets in the last 6. Oh, good job. I'm not buying Keane for the last 6 game weeks. I'm buying him for now. Let's see what happens next. But look, the only thing I care about when we're looking at future clean sheets is the clean sheet odds. And what I do know is that Everton have the 2nd best clean sheet odds for this game week, only behind Arsenal. So that's good enough for me. It's not crazy high, like, don't get me wrong. It's like 35% chance. But yeah, it's more than good enough. Rio starts, need a 4.5 midfielder. I believe Rio starts, yes. Based on what I know, Rio starts. But I don't know it for sure. Jake says, hi Dan, I'm 2 points at the top of my mini league. Can't decide to either start Virgil or O'Reilly. O'Reilly already had his arrest. And he is, a real key player for Man City right now. I do think he plays. I do really think O'Reilly starts. Of course, there's always some risk of him not. But if I'm had to guess, I would say O'Reilly starts. I think if it's me, I would start O'Reilly over Virgil, but perhaps Virgil is a little safer. And if that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. Do you take a -4 to go Munoz to Saliba? Probably not. Not to Saliba. Because you could probably get 2 points out of Munoz compared to Saliba 6 points. So probably not. I'll do it for free. High down play Senesi, Semenyo, or Gibbs White. Do you just got to take a chance of Semenyo? Probably. Revenge game against his former club. Ipsa with a super chat here. Brought in Trossard and Tarkovsky for Wilson and Strauch for -4. Should I take a gamble for a -8? Swap with Gyökeres for Welbeck? No. Nope. Who should you captain? Saka, if you have him. If not, Gabriel. You could also do Bruno. Can you show the best team to target for DEFCON graphic? I don't think there is a recent one. There isn't a recent one. I just went in and manually did it earlier because I haven't found any DEFCON target graphics or anything recently, annoyingly. DCL or Dewsbury Hall? Dewsbury Hall. Unless you're talking about transfers. I wouldn't transfer DCL out to get Dewsbury Hall. Or make a transfer to bring in Dewsbury Hall in order to bench DCL. But if you have both already, I would play Dewsbury Hall above Calvert-Lewin. There we go. Caden, thank you very much for the kind words. Why is no one captaining Haaland? It is time to go against Haaland. It is time. Triple Arsenal defense, Gabriel captain, Hoover vice, Bruno. I guess so, yeah. I guess Bruno. Who would you bench between Garner and Welbeck? Probably Garner. I'd probably bench Garner. Soboslai or Sarr? Soboslai now with Verts and Isak out. It's Sobo time. It really is Sobo time. Wilson or Bowen? That's the tougher one. Should I sell DCL for Welbeck? No. Richarlison or Beto? Beto, I guess? I think. Just because Solanke is not completely out of the picture. Harry Wilson or DCL? I'd definitely start Wilson over DCL. Hey Dan, love the content. Is it silly to captain Bowen instead of any of the Arsenal three? I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think there's so many great captain options this week, and Bowen isn't one of them. Even if you did want to go different, you've got plenty of opportunities, plenty of options to go different without having to go quite that far. Chasing 30 points, can't decide on Yok or Gabriel captain. Let's say Gabriel. Scott out and Keane in for a -4. Probably not worth a -4. Do I think Munoz starts? I do, actually. I think Crystal Palace close to full strength this game week, and then close to, what's the opposite of full? Empty. Close to empty strength in game week 38. Worried about Saka's minutes? If you're worried about Saka's minutes, then Gabriel is your safest bet from Arsenal. If minutes is your priority. Can't believe we've got to wait until Monday, by the way, for Arsenal to see if our triple Arsenals and our captains are going to pay off. A long time to wait. Should I play Aronson or Lacroix or Bournemouth forward? It depends. It depends. But we've got like 40 seconds to figure it out. If you've got Brighton defenders, then don't play Aronson, is what I would say. You could maybe play a Bournemouth forward, or just Lacroix. Lacroix is also fine. I think Lacroix is fine because I think he'll get DEFCON. You might win the title on Monday, maybe, but I mean, we won't know about it until Tuesday. So I don't know if it really counts. But yes, it could be the victory that secures the Premier League title, technically. We've got 10 seconds left, guys. I'm really hoping you guys are locked in, because I should have probably double-checked my team there. But the deadline has officially passed for another game week. There we go. Ta-da! Right, let's do a screenshot and post my team on Twitter. Okay. And whilst I'm doing this, guys, please let me know. Did anyone do anything crazy, wild, or interesting? I'm going to stick around for 15 minutes just to get the confirmation on the full Liverpool team news. But let me know, did anyone do anything wild or wacky or interesting ahead of Game Week 37? I want to hear about it. Game Week 37 team. I ended up doing Qua to Kane. Saka captain, which is Sack captain giving me some nerves. But we move. Good luck. Good luck, everyone. Right. There we go. Yeah, cool. Right. Let's check through the chat then and see what you've got for me. So, did you bring in Keenan and Gyökeres this week? No, I just bought Keenan. I already had Gyökeres from last week. I brought him in last week. Samir says, I took control of my brother's dormant team, free hit and Captain Gabriel. Very nice. Emir, Captain Gabriel. Crazy in your eyes. It's a little crazy. In Paris says, bro, I just remembered about the deadline like 7 minutes before the end. Did a speed run of all of Dan's content for the week and just about managed to captain Saka. Nice work, mate. Dirty Lead says, was going to captain Gabriel, switched to Fernandez last second. H. Grant said, sold Semenyo, brought in Bruno G and captained him. That is crazy. Captain Bruno G. Wow. Dan, where do you think Senesi will land next season? I'm gonna say Chelsea. Yeah, I'm gonna say Chelsea. Last Friday live stream of the season. That's true, actually. That's true. We've got a Sunday stream next. No more Saturday streams. But last week was the final Saturday deadline. Is that right? Was last week Saturday? I captain Thiago, but I don't think that's wild. Haven't seen others do it. I do think that is a bit wild, to be fair. Brought in Keane despite still not having Gabriel. Wow. How much do you think Gabriel will cost next season? It depends if they keep DEFCON or not, which I don't think is a guarantee. If they keep DEFCON, then he could very conceivably be 7.5 to 8 million, which would be fair. Which would be a fair price. Probably 7.5. But if they remove DEFCON, 6.5 is probably reasonable. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do with that. I hope they keep DEFCON in the game, personally. But I know some people would prefer it be removed. I just think, for me, if we're trying to keep the game as fun as reasonably possible, the more ways you can score points, for me, the better. Isak next season might pop off. Needs to stay fit first, though. Where'd you get your footy shirts from? There is no one place. I get them from here, there, and everywhere. Wherever I can find what I'm looking for the best price is pretty much where I'll get it from. I'll get them from, or I receive them as gifts as well, because I think my family know birthdays and Christmases. You know, you can't really go wrong buying Dan a birthday or Christmas football shirt. Are you going to get the new Arsenal shirt that dropped today? Yeah, maybe. I'm more waiting for I don't know. I kind of prefer to collect the away shirts, to be honest. I feel like home Premier League shirts just age so quickly, unless, like, you know, something significant happens in that season. Which, to be fair, this shirt just gone is that significant season, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I like the look of the away one. Do you have any Lyon shirts? I do have one. It's right there. I can grab it. DEFCON was definitely needed because centre backs, CDMs that never use get a look at him. True. But some people say that it's kind of reduced the even though some players have become more viable, a lot of other players have become less viable. Is the argument, like, because it means you're no longer going to pick players like Consa. I do think that the change is mostly positive, and I think this is the Lyon shirt, which is, I think, fantastic. I think the change is mostly positive because a lot of the reasons why it feels like DEFCON players are dominating this season is because just the attacking, there's not as many goals from like sorry, I've been streaming for over 3 hours and sat down for over 3 hours. I'm just doing just some stretches. It's just because like Saka and Palmer have fallen off. Isak's been injured all season. Salah's kind of fallen off in his numbers as well. It just feels like because so many of the top players, well, really, there's not really been, which midfielders can we realistically say, or maybe Igor Thiago, but outside of Igor Thiago, where's this season's Rodgers, or that first season of Palmer, or these 200-point seasons from these attacking players? Where are all of the forward options? Where's our Wood? Where's our Cunha? Where's all of these guys? They haven't really been there this season. I mean, you could argue Semenyo, but that's about it. So that's kind of been it. It's kind of been Semenyo that's been the only kind of breakthrough attacking player this season. That's it. Welbeck, I don't know. Welbeck's only scored, was like 13 goals this season, something like that. Not exactly like, and he's not on for a 200-point season. You need an AIK shirt. Next time I end up within the top 10k, I'll get you one as a gift. Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Do they have interesting shirts though? Exactly. This has been an Arsenal/Stoke type of season. As much as it pains me to say, yeah, kind of has, hasn't it? It kind of has been one of those ones. His price has done well. Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's done badly. I'm just saying that usually we'll have several top attackers going crazy. What's for dinner, Dan? Oh, good question, Never. What is for dinner? I think I'm having a ready meal tonight because my darling wife is working and I can't really be bothered to properly cook just for myself. And she's taken food to work. So, yeah, probably just see what's in the freezer. Boring one. How's dinner last week? Oh, yeah, fine. Normal. What was it? What did I even have? It was something nice, wasn't it? It was nice. Takeaway night, Uber Eats. Yeah, man, like pizza. I could do, but like I have like a perfectly nice chicken and bacon penne pasta bake in the freezer right now that I can pop out, microwave for 10 minutes, and that's my lot. So it's not M&S, no, I believe it's Asda. But it's like, it's that will do. That will sort me out. That'll sort me out. That's takeaways a bit. I'm like trying to be a little bit more conscious financially and also with my weight. So not that I'm like a big guy or anything, but yeah, I'm trying to be a bit healthier, generally speaking. But anyway, here for FPL. Okay, Dan, let's be real on the previous topic. You're great at making FPL content. It's enjoyable, on point, and with research behind it. Great pedagogy too. What does that mean? Pedagogy? What does that word mean? I've not heard that before. Please don't stop doing. I think I'm pretty good at making FPL content. I don't know. I think things can be improved though. I think the difficulty is with FPL content, and I won't lie, I am struggling with it a little bit. The competition is really, it's like crazy at this point. Like we're getting to a point where the market for content is getting very oversaturated, and the meta right now to make content is to go onto FPL review, see what the algorithms are saying, reverse engineer that, make a PowerPoint presentation, record that quickly, and just upload it as it is. And that's, works well. Pedagogy, the art of teaching. Oh, interesting. So yeah, that kind of style of content is working really well. It allows you to pump out a lot of content in good time, and people like it. It's not as really discussion based, that kind of content, I don't think, but it's good for telling people what to do. And I think right now there's a huge market. It's part of the reason I think Stick to FPL podcast didn't do as well as I'd hoped. There's a huge market of people just wanting to be told what to do, and a shrinking market of discussion, I think. So as such, there is the possibility that the videos that I make, which are heavily researched, heavily edited, lots of graphics, messing around with different stuff, trying different stuff, is it's very time consuming. It's maybe a dying art a little bit. And I don't know, mate. I know I'm kind of in a situation where, do we change things up a little bit? Have I kind of missed the boat on that style of content? And, a lot of people have established audience of doing this kind of more instructional, more to the point, actually, content that is what a lot of people truly want right now. I don't know. And I need to figure out, basically, how can I improve my videos in a way that I'm happy with as well? So does that mean making slightly shorter videos? Does it mean spending more time doing short form content? Does that mean, to be honest, I haven't improved my videos as much as I hoped I would this year. This year has been year and a bit maybe, has been a slightly tougher year in my personal life. And as such, I haven't really improved things in the way. Usually year on year I try and improve more and more things. I feel like I've kind of let myself down a little bit there in regards to making new, like updating graphics and coming up with new ideas. I think I've kind of stalled a little bit on that this year, so I can definitely improve on that. I need to nail my upload times, because often at the moment I'm waking up in the morning and I'm spending like 12 hours making a video, and I'm not uploading it until 9 or 10 p.m. So, I mean, there's that. And there's also the fact that, quite frankly, my ranks have not, because I've been so late to adopt the analytics tools, your review, your whatever. Because I've been late to adopt those, for the last couple of seasons, my ranks haven't been particularly good. Whereas the kind of, managers who are using review or, Solio this year, or some of the other analytics tools to help them kind of make decisions, they've had some great ranks in the last few seasons. And that's also built a level of trust that I've been unable to build. So I think in many ways, the reputation of FPL Mate as a channel is kind of maybe at a low point right now. And I think it's going to be difficult for me to kind of claw it back. So, look, I don't know. There's also the point that every time I come up with a new idea, within a couple of months, someone else is doing it, which is really good. And it really, really does show me that I'm doing a good job. And that does give me some pride. But again, it makes it difficult to compete. So I don't know, man. I can definitely do so much more. There's definitely so much I can improve. And I intend, like I said, look, next year, there is a chance that it could be my last season doing FPL. Maybe I phase it out or transition it, maybe get some help. Someone else can present it or whatever. And I'll be, in the background, helping with the editing or whatever. Maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. But before I think about phasing out FPL Mate, and I really don't want to do that, just for the record, I really, really don't want to stop doing this, because I absolutely love making FPL content. I love making YouTube videos, but I also don't want to overstay my welcome, and I'm very, very keen that I don't overstay my welcome here on this space, or in this space. But I am committed to putting in 100% next season, seeing what happens. I mean, we're going to do World Cup. I'm going to very much enjoy doing World Cup Fantasy. We're going to do 100% effort next season, trying to improve a lot of things and get things right and you know, make something I'm happy with, but also that other people really like. And then if things look like they're going to improve rather than, you know, go down, then great. We'll keep going for as long as we physically can. For as long as I'm welcome, I will be making FPL content. But like I said, if the appetite is decreasing, the last thing I want to do is for that FPL mate to become like a joke or a meme or, you know, that kind of thing. That's the last thing I want, because I'm pretty proud of what I've managed to do here in the years that I have had on YouTube. Really, really proud. But there you go. Where do you do World Cup Fantasy? On the FIFA website. Anyway, let's after my monologue, let's check out the team news, and I'll read through some of your comments because I can see that some of you have written some stuff whilst I was monologuing. So Watkins is here, Rogers is here, Consa, Cash. Those are the main guys that a lot of people have seem to be starting. Nothing too crazy. And Mamardashvili is in, Gomez right back, Van Dijk, Kanate is available. And it looks like indeed it is. Oh, wait, so no. Oh, where's Szoboszlai playing then? Right wing? Oh, it could be Szoboszlai right mid here. Not behind the striker. It still could be pretty good for him. Interesting. All right, so maybe that's Szoboszlai right, Gakpo up front, Gamoa left, and McAllister in the 10. Lovely. Yeah, there you go. Right. Let's go through these comments before I go. A lot of people saying I'm overthinking things. Yeah, maybe. But like you have to, right? It's, you know, it's my job to think as much as I can and do as much as I can. People saying that they're excited for the future. Ali says the views dropping isn't a reflection on you or your content. Your content has only improved. Goodness knows why the views dropping, but it's not a reflection on you or your content. Yeah, but there's like, I think, a difference between making good content and then it's great. And I, you know, a lot of the videos I make, I am genuinely very proud of. However, you know, there's good content and there's the content that people want to watch and want to consume. You know, we can all say that, like, going for the most wonderful steak dinner is, you know, that's the pinnacle of food. A lot of people would say that's the pinnacle of food, right? But I can guarantee that most of you guys spend far more of your time consuming McDonald's or KFC or Burger King or whatever, rather than having those wonderful, you know, Michelin star steaks. And by the way, that is an extreme example. I'm definitely not saying that, you know, my content is Michelin steak. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just kind of giving an example of where one thing can be good, another thing can be good, but just because both things are good and both things are tasty, I think they're both tasty. I actually prefer the McDonald's. Both things are tasty, but one is more consumable, more accessible, and that's gets views, and then that earns money, and that means I get to keep my job, right? So there we go. Yeah, lots of kind comments here. I'm not going to read through them all because I'll save that and I'll do that privately or in my head as I'm reading them now. It's a little bit cringy to read out people being nice about me, but I appreciate it. Lots of kind words. Lots of kind words. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Somebody said I think I need to show more leg. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Rogers is a more frustrating asset. What's wrong with Rogers? He's starting. That's unless you were kind of hoping for a Rodgers auto sub. Cat cam. I said it before and I'll say it again. Yeah, maybe. We'll find a way to help my cat make FPL decisions. That would be awesome. But anyway, there we go. I feel like I've been a bit of a misery guts today. I do genuinely apologise for that. I really, really do. Like, it's a bit pathetic, isn't it? We're here for FPL content, for God's sake. But no, I appreciate you indulging me. Views drop the further the season goes on. That's true. And there will be a big boost next season at the start of the new season. But what I need to do next season is right from the start of the season, one, get a nice, good start to the FPL season, because that always keeps things going. You know, some people don't care if you spend 10 hours editing a video or 10 minutes editing a video. If you're a highly ranked manager, that is a far better indication of whether they should watch the content or not. So that's going to be important. So nice, good start to next season and making videos that people like so much that they want to stick around, not just for the first few months of the season, but the whole season. And we'll give it a go, man. Look, I'm not one to give up. And even if I was to end FPL Mate, you know that I have some really interesting ideas for YouTube content that I think could actually do really well. Cheer up, it's Friday. It's not a Friday for me, man. I've got to keep prepping World Cup fantasy stuff. So next weekend I'm gonna chill out because it's, final game of the season. I'm gonna have a few beers, watch the final day of the season next week. But this weekend I've got bits and bobs to do. I want to get ahead of the World Cup stuff, really. Will I be at meets next week? I feel like I'm thinking about it, but I'm not sure, because basically I need to do a deadline stream, and then it's going to take me an hour and a half to get into London, or central London at least. And I'm going to miss possibly the entire first half of the final games of the season. And given that Arsenal are in a Premier League battle to win the whole thing, I kind of want to watch the whole thing. And I also kind of want to watch the game with like some of my older friends, I guess, in my local area. So I do want to go. I do want to go to the meetup next week, but I just think maybe this is the year I don't do it. But I'll be at the Fantasy Football Fest in August. I'll definitely be at Fantasy Football Fest, no doubt about that. Think of the Asda Ready meal. Oh, I'm thinking about it. I wonder if I can convince I'll join after. I did also think about that, Matt. I did think, after the game, should I just head into London after? So that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, but no, I mean, hopefully, regardless of that, I'll be at the Fantasy Football Fest, which will be great, and I can't wait for that. I love going to that. Oh, who requested cats? A few of you requested cats. He's just arrived. He's hungry, aren't you, pup? Yeah. Come on. Say hello to the good people. Let's go full screen for this one. So, Milton, meet everyone. Why do you look so grumpy? Milton, he's here because he's hungry, because he knows it's his dinner time. He usually has his dinner about 6, but because I've been streaming, someone has had to go hungry, haven't they? And that's you. Right, I better go. I better go feed him. Right, cheers, guys. Oh, this could be my longest ever stream, by the way. 3.5 hours. I don't think I've ever streamed for this long before. But whatever. Guys, genuinely, thank you for today. It's been really good, and I've enjoyed chatting with you guys. And a lot of the things you say are genuinely. I know I'm like a insecure bastard, but like a lot of the things, like the responses genuinely really do help and help me give that reassurance that sometimes I do need. And I'm very fortunate to have such a wonderful community here, and you guys who are absolutely brilliant and so thought out things that you say. Thank you guys. I will be back. When? Who knows? Maybe when will I be back? Probably Monday, because there's no point really making content before all of the games essentially play on Sunday. So maybe Sunday evening if I can turn something around very quickly, but I don't know if I will or not. But there'll be loads of videos for Game Week 38. We'll do a few. So cheers, guys. Enjoy the football. Have fun. I'll catch you over probably on Twitter or Instagram maybe. And yes, I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.